afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We want to welcome you to another episode of About You podcast. Today is going to be a fascinating show. We're going to talk about fatherhood, manhood. It's a total diet show. We have some of our finest gentlemen of our generation on here to share their thoughts, their insights, their experience about fatherhood. And I have some of our beautiful ladies too to co-host with me today. So hang tight with us. Share the show, invite someone, come with your questions, and listen. Get your pen and paper. It's going to be groundbreaking. So before we go any further, I want the ladies to introduce themselves. Just say something about yourself before we have our guests to talk about themselves as well. There you go. Somebody just joined. All right. So Eugenia, Eugenia, SB, can you come on camera? Eugenia, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I can hear you.
Eugenia, can you tell the audience about you, something about you, introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Thank you for having me on here today, guys. I'm happy to be here. My name is Eugenia Wureh. I'm a mother of 3. I'm in healthcare. I'm an entrepreneur. I love all things Liberia. I love talking about things that impact our community. So I'm happy to be here for this discussion today.
My name is Minerva. I live in Minnesota, mother of 2 adult children, grandmother in the healthcare field to meaning the mental health. Love everything about Liberia, love politics. So happy to be here.
So, I was trying to share the show here. Sorry, guys. Emeric, you go first and introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Emeric Nicol, a father of 2 boys. I am married. I'm into accounting and finance with a nonprofit in DC. It's a pleasure being on, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you. Desmond?
I'm Desmond Findley. I'm married. I have 3 daughters and 2 stepsons. I'm into IT and I live in Australia at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you. Abraham?
Hey, good to be on. Abraham Doedeh, live in Alabama, the father of 3, single, project management expert. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, SB is not on camera. SB, if you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you there. Sorry.
Okay,
yes,
please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Can you introduce yourself?
Okay. Yes, I will. First, I want to apologize. I can't come on camera now because there was a drastic change in my schedule. But my name is SB Don Wallace, live in Toronto, Canada. Father of 4. I'm into healthcare, specifically pharmacy. And I agreed to come on the show today, as we discussed. And then at the very last minute, I got a call to go into work. So I'm actually driving to work. I left a little early because I'm trying to beat the traffic. But once I get to my location and park my car, then I will come on video. So just bear with me for now.
We're so happy. We're so happy to have you. So no, thank you for sharing some of your time. I'll be very honest. You guys would have been everywhere else there to be here. We're certainly happy to have you. Some of you guys have to adjust your schedule up and down, the time difference, and so we're so excited for you guys to be here. Thank you for giving us some of your time. I'm hearing feedback that some people cannot. People saying they cannot. They cannot see the show or share the show, but it's on YouTube and it's on Facebook. But Eugenia, can you go with the questions? Start asking questions. Let me take care of this technical issue. Yes, you want to ask? Yeah, you can start. Let me take care of this aspect.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So guys, let me just jump to my part of the questions. What is the most memorable moment you shared with your children? Anyone can start, but okay, maybe we can just start from the top. Emeric, you go ahead.
Oh, first of all, I have a son I have two sons. Well, one is an athlete. Uh, the travels, moving around from one state to the other, I think it created this special moment between he and myself. Uh, I will say this, right? A lot of times we don't appreciate the knowledge of our children until we really get very intimate with them to understand those things, especially playing sports. Uh, Knowing the adversities he's going through on the page, that too can translate to his overall his life as to how to overcome some obstacles. So we get into it after a game, and we talk, and like that. I don't like the way they coach. I don't like those things. So those are things that are really special to me because I can be able to advise him and say, look, the real world is not based on your perception. It's not what you think. It's adjusting to uh, the way someone who has control, like the coach, to your job, your boss, and all of those things. And it helps to for him to be able to navigate, to be able to find his way in life, to find a balance, to be able to relate with the prevailing situation or the obstacles, and so how to overcome. So it's more of being steadfast, being focused, and
Okay.
know the objective of what they want, what the coach wants, and so that those are the special moments that I see with my son that we all share and we talk about, and then he's able to overcome and he's able to adjust and adapt to the different things that are happening around him.
Okay. Desmond, want to go ahead?
That's why you are
I
muted.
think you're muted.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for me, I have three daughters, so I'll go individually, right? And I would start. The benefit for me, I think now, the most is my current relationship with my daughters, right? I had kids young. I was 21 and I had two daughters the same year, 6 months apart. And they'll ask me how it wasn't magic. It can happen. It's very possible. So, anyways, but anyway, so my daughters now, one just turned 21 last month, and one is 20 years old. She'll be 21 in December. So I'm finding that I'm a great conversationalist, right? Because with the 21-year-old, we had a very not rocky relationship, but it wasn't intimate, if you know what I mean. Because I wasn't with her mother, we didn't live together, so it was very transactional. But I find that I'm the one she calls to talk about stuff, and it would be like a one call, and it would last for 20, 30, 40 minutes. She would just be going on. It would be gossiping about friends, talking about this and talking about that. I knew I could talk to people, right? But I find that the most intimate moments I'm having with my kids now is meeting them where they are now in their lives and being able to have an open, frank discussion with them. I'll give you an example. My 20-year-old she goes to George Mason University studying nursing. So a freshman year of school, in a way not to get in my business, but we'll discuss it. But her mother paid tuition, I pay rent, I pay room and board. So the way we did, so the school year ended, I'm like, yo, I'm waiting for her to send me her grades. So I wait, grade, a week go by, 2 weeks go by, I ain't getting no grades. So I call her up. I'm like, hey, what happened to the grades? She goes, oh, but you wasn't here, so I didn't send you the grades. I just sent it to my mom. Another parent would be upset. I wasn't, because I know what just happened in that moment. It was the fact that I wasn't present. No matter what I did, I wasn't present for something that she needed. And for me, the moment there for me would be, she was able to communicate that to me, and I was able to be responsible and accountable in that moment. So that was one of the most important moments for me and my 20-year-old. With my 16-year-old, she just turned 16. Um, if I could, if you could put a leash on a child's mouth, that's where I would put it. but, but I would never want to do that to anybody, anywhere, anytime soon. But very open-minded, highly intelligent. The only thing I can pray to God for, let her just find focus. And I pray for whoever son she meets in the future. So with that, that's me. That's my intimate moment with my children, being able to communicate effectively. And when I say effectively, it means me listening, them talking at this stage.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry. I don't have names listed anymore across the screen, but is it Abraham?
Yeah, I think it's Abraham. Yeah.
Okay, Abraham, please go ahead.
Yeah, fatherhood is a dedicated responsibility, and I got two of my girls back in Liberia, and one is here. The one is she just turned 6 yesterday, and I I try to create a bond with my little 6 years old. 60 the one that just turned 6. So for me, um, it's extremely important for me to build that personal relationship with her and to teach her how I want her to be, treated as a dad. So what I do is that on her school work and her personal birthdays, taking her to Chuck E. Cheese, spending time with her, walking in the park, you know, those basic things, and my Lord says she's very smart. So I kind of ask her, what is it that she wants to do? What is it that, she want to do on a Saturday? Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want us to go in the kitchen and cook? I got so many videos. She comes here. We just go in the kitchen and do some cooking for her. Now she's, doing breakfast and all that kind of stuff. So I try to build a personal relationship with my little 6 year old because I think it's extremely important as men. The way you want somebody, the way you want your daughter to be treated, especially who got girls, children. You have to teach them that way so that whoever come across them tomorrow, they can treat them the way that you want them to be treated. So I try to build a personal relationship with my little 6 year old. Yesterday, um, I took her out for dinner. We went to father and daughter dinner. We went for our dinner yesterday. Took a little ride. Went for dinner. We had a great time, and we left from there. Came back, and she said, "Hey, Dad, we gotta go in the pool." Went in the pool yesterday. Had a little pool time. I didn't want to get in the pool, but hey, that was her birthday, so we had to take that time, to do that. So I see, my girls. I try to build a personal relationship with them. It's extremely important for me because I mean, down the road, the way I want them to be treated, I should begin to teach them that way right now, so that tomorrow they will see that, oh yeah, my dad treated me this way, and I think that is a way I expect from my husband or from my spouse, whatever. So I try to create a personal bond with my kids, especially the girls, for the three girls that I have. So yeah, especially for the birthday yesterday was a good experience. We had a dinner and we had hang out, did a lot of stuff together, and so forth. So that was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Those are some excellent examples you guys gave. Thank you.
SB, you forgot SB.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, thank
SB,
you.
I'm so sorry. I can't see you.
Because he's not on
SB,
video.
That's okay.
what
It's
are some
okay. Thank
memorable
you.
moments?
Listen, I have so many. I can piggyback off everything that these guys have said, but I just want to say, fatherhood is not a part-time thing. It's either you're fully committed or you're not. You can't be in between, right? So for me, I have three girls and a boy, and my oldest is going to be 13 in October. My second oldest will be turning 11, actually this Saturday, and both of them are very active, right? My oldest, she's a gymnast, and she's also a swimmer, and then my second one, she's in the cheerleading and dance. The other two, they're still young. For my oldest, I was very concerned when I got divorced that I wasn't going to be, have that same type of relationship I had with them now that I was going to be separated from them. That was one of the biggest concern of mine. But as God would have it, and time went by, we were able to, fix some issues. Um, I'm still able to maintain, that bond that I had with them, even though they live about an hour away from me. Whenever they have, dance recital or a gym competition, coming up, the first thing they would do, they would call me, Daddy, you gonna be there? And because I work nights full time and I also work part time in the day, I would make sure I reschedule my work schedule, make the necessary adjustments, and then I'll be there. So sometimes I finish a 12-hour shift at night, and I'm in Hamilton at 9 a.m. for the next 5 hours, because sometimes you don't know when their time will come for them to be on stage. But after their competition, what I really like the most is just that excitement on their faces when they come off stage and they see that I made it. Sometimes to mess with them, I'll tell them, "Oh, Daddy can make it. I'm working. I'm gonna be too busy." You know what I mean? And when I get there, I'm in the audience. I try to get there as early as I can so I can get a seat front row. And when they walk on stage and they see me, they're excited. Just having that excitement in their face. Whenever I have them on the weekend or on holidays or for the birthday, I still try to do the things that we used to do when we all lived together. So I like to cook. I consider myself a decent guy, cook in the kitchen. So we get in the kitchen, we cook. I get them to do little things, cut the onions and learn how to blend, different vegetables and stuff like that. They love doing those things with me. My oldest one now, one of the things she's been requesting now is that she wants to come to the gym with me because she knows that I'm active, into fitness and stuff like that. So, I just, there's so many different moments. I take a road trip with them. The other time I took a road trip down to Delaware, so I have my second one with me. We went for a road trip and she just had a ball. It was an 8-hour drive, but she loved it. As far as my two youngest are concerned, my memorable moments with them would be just when they were born. Just being there, them seeing me, knowing who I am, and and we share that special bond. And I make sure that I talk to these kids every single day. Not a day that goes by they don't see me. That's something that is on my daily schedule. I have to see them every day. They have to see my face. They have to hear my voice. I want to know what they're doing, how they're feeling, what they have for breakfast. So it's an ongoing bond and a relationship that you have to build with your kids. And I look forward to the challenge every day. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, the gratifying thing about it is when these kids say hello, Daddy, or how you doing, Daddy, or even when you're tired and they see that you're tired and they ask you, Daddy, are you okay? Little things like that. It gives you light, it gives you spirit. And like my friend Doedeh said, I have girls too, and I always try to treat them, the way I want them to expect, themselves to be treated. So I just try to do the best I can every day, and that's about it.
Okay. Telvi, who you want to go next? I think you're muted, Telvi.
Perfect timing. We're on the first question. We got Ben that just joined us and Leo just joined us. So you got to answer the questions too. So get that take on it before we move to the next question.
Okay, I don't know who was here first. I think I saw Ben first, so forgive me if that's wrong. Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then the first question was, what are some memorable moments that you can share that you've encountered with your children?
Oh, so first of all, I want to say I'm very sorry for coming late, and I do have a guest, but I just didn't want to let this day go by without saying anything. So that's why right now I'm even outside because my guest is inside. So I just try to improvise to be here now. Well, for me, when it comes to fatherhood, it's a complete strength issue because I have two kids, none of whom I have had any personal relationship with. When I'm saying personal, that means that having to be there. The financial aspect, yes, I'm doing very well on that end. And as an African father, the way how I deal with my son is it's just the same way how my father dealt with me. But sometimes I feel a little bit of a disconnect because of the way how the things that I've learned here now, and knowing that some of the things that the way how my father brought me up is completely different. So sometimes I'm confused. Like, should I go by my father method, or should I go with the things that I've learned over the years? So it's still a learning process that I have these two walls um, when I'm dealing with my son. I mean, my son, he's 24 years old, but he still acts like a young man. You know how boys are in Liberia. They usually develop very late. I mean, late. Probably some of them is like 27 to 30 years old before they start to show. So he still looks up to me for everything. So yeah, I mean that's what I would say for now, and leave it there.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Hi, Leo. Can you do the same? Can you introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about yourself? And the question was, what is a memorable moment that you can share that you've encountered with your children?
Yeah, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Leah.
Yeah, thank you. My
Yes.
name is Leo Napolo Johnson, and thanks for joining, for letting me in. I know I came late. It's crazy. We are talking about children. My son made me late because his game was supposed to end earlier and it went later. So I found myself. So I just decided to stay here in the car and be able to do it because I wouldn't be driving. And thanks to TELV, to you, Eugenia, everyone for organizing such an important conversation. Um, I mean, Leo Johnson here. I live in Canada. I'm back and forth on the continent and Canada. My background by academic study is economics and political science, but by profession, it's many other things that I do as a community developer, as a community organizer in a non-for-profit setting. When it comes to memorable time with my children, I would really like to cite one with my son. My first son, who's now 16, he just turned 16 in June. I remember my quest for wanting my children to have an understanding of where their dad has come from as a person and their mom has come from as a person, to be able to appreciate, have a sense of appreciation for it, despite the fact that their life might be better than what it was. Made me take my son to Liberia at the age of 2.5. My wife fought me over it. I managed to have convinced her to allow me to do that. And we both traveled together as two gentlemen, went to Liberia. We were there for 2 months and a half. And my son got so sick,
Um,
and I couldn't tell his mom, right? The dynamics of it. And I remember things running through my mind as to, is it really worth it? What am I trying to give my son? Because in those moments, you are second guessing yourself and second guessing all of the decisions that you made. Fortunately for me, he was able to recover while we were there. My mom is a nurse, so did her extreme best. And he recovered and got back to 100% health before we actually came back. Looking back at it now, that was one of the best moments for me because it brought me to full maturity as a father, to have been able to watch those moments and realize that even when we try to give our children the best at times, there is a dichotomy of giving the best and dealing with the worst at the same time because of some of the consequences that arise as a result of it. And since then, I've committed that all of my kids, we just came back from Liberia in February, all three of them, because if we just take into consideration only the challenges and the risk involved, then we would keep our children away from so many things. So sometimes, how do you calculate the risks? Take it in a safe way. I'm not saying anybody should be reckless with your child, but calculate it and see how safe you can make it. But that was the best for me. There was something special. My son now holds to Liberia, and at 16, he wanted to go back and do a basketball camp for kids. So we went back in February and he was able to actually do that. So I guess exposing my son to who I am and what I am, he doesn't need to follow it, but just being able to let him experience it and have an appreciation of it for me. Those were some of the best moments.
oh, that's great. Thank you. All right, Talvi, turning it back over to you.
All right. So my question, I'm putting my question on here just so you guys can see it and the audience can see it. I'll still, say it. What surprised you the most about being a father? So I'll start with Ben because I'm gonna go across like this, and he's the first looking at me.
Oh my God. So, so I've never planned any of my kids. So it's not anything that I ever planned to say I'm going to have kids. So all my kids were a complete surprising. That's the first thing you know. Very surprising. Uh, Being a refugee boy. The first time I went to my older brother, I said, "Oh my God, the girl says she's pregnant." And the first thing, it took me 2 weeks to even tell him. I was so confused. I'm like, God, we can hardly find it to eat. So, and I was so afraid of this guy. I'm like, oh, and when I told him, He said, Ben, don't worry. I got this. This is a man who, in fact, let me say, we're not from the same mother, not the same, not the same father, nothing. But he was my refugee parent. I became my brother. And because of him, I made this country. He took me and said, leave this thing. I got it. Don't think about anything. And my son, mom, and myself, um, at some point in time, she said she wanted to go to Liberia. My older brother took care of her, and she went to Liberia. For my daughter issue, I'll just keep it. Let me just not say that. I'll just keep it for now. Let's just leave it something. I don't want you guys
Okay, that's
crying here.
something you're gonna regret tomorrow. But if you like to
Yeah.
sketch it. All right, Leo, over to you.
Yeah, for me, what has surprised me the most, the first thing is that every child seems to be different. When you think you've understood it, and you're like, yeah, the first time I was new, so I didn't know what I was doing. The second time I'll be better. You realize that you are humbled again by the different characteristics, the different personality traits, the different dynamics the kids do bring. But what has surprised me the most is my own struggle with what we wish for our children versus when they're coming of their own to forge their own path, and what we define as being where they should be going, where they should focus, and what informs that for us versus what informs them. And I know it's easy. I used to say it's easier to be like, yeah, just guide the children, let them do what they want, let them forge their own path. It's easier said than done until you are the one sitting on the seat. When you have said to yourself, and I want the children to go to school and be educated, the child is looking at you telling like school is not for me. Like, that's not how my brain functions. And now you're struggling with the fact to accept that you can be okay with telling yourself, yeah, that's okay. You don't want to go to school, that's fine. Because first of all, by default, we all have been drilled into believing that the only way out is through education. And education means going to academic school from grade 1 to grade 12, graduating to college or university. So reconciling that fact of being able to tell yourself, okay, clearly my child is struggling in school is bringing them more trauma, more anguish, depression, and anything. How can I reconcile the fact to say my child can forge a different pathway and not go to school? School in a sense of typical school, not that they can get other forms of education, but not go to the typical academic school that we all know. In fact, if you don't go to high school in our world, it's like you are a unserious person. How do you reconcile that? I'm struggling with that now versus what my vision of life is in my head that I think I'm responsible to give the kids vis-a-vis how they should forge theirs. I'll give the examples and then leave it there. If Mark Zuckerberg would have told his dad as an African father, say, I'm quitting Harvard. I'm dropping out of Harvard because I found this little computer game and I fixed for my friend and myself to be communicating on with each other, because that's what Facebook was. It was
Right.
nothing but a kind of freakish computer space that he created for him and friend and to be gossiping on. Imagine coming to your African father and telling them that kind of crap, that you're dropping out of Harvard after they pay your school fees in second year to try and make Facebook a thing that will work. That would be difficult. And I guess that's how I can describe what my greatest surprise has been. The struggle, despite everything I know and I've been exposed to, I still struggle with it, even sometimes when I have to make those decisions.
Thank you for sharing, Leo. Over to you, SB. Are you at a place you can talk? SB, you're on
I think
mute.
you are muted, SB.
Let
Are
me
you not muted?
No, I can
What
hear you guys.
surprised
You
you
can
the
hear me?
most of being a father?
You guys can hear me, right?
yeah,
Yes.
we hear you.
Okay. I think what surprised me the most is just I was speaking from the perspective of being a first-time father. It's more of your presence and the responsibility that comes with being responsible for another person. I grew up in a well-structured home. Mom and dad was always there, and our dad was always doing what he had to do to take care of us. But just being in that role and knowing that it's not a child's game and it's no joke, and that you're actually responsible for someone's life, every aspect of that person's life. I first it's exciting, oh, I'm a father, I have a child. And then when you face with all of the responsibility that comes with it, now you have to sit there and really say to yourself, okay, this is real, this is serious, and I need to position myself so I can be the best father I can be, not just financially, but in every aspect of life. So, um, I had my first daughter when I was 29, turning 30. So, it was surprising just to be able to handle all of the shared responsibility that comes with that. But it's exciting. And I think the most important thing is when you excel at those responsibilities as a father, it makes you feel a whole lot better. So that's all I would say about what it's about.
Thank you, Emeric. You're mute.
Leo just struck a point, right? For every child, there's a difference in your approach, in your mentorship, in your discipline. Everything is different. My oldest was different because he's so athletic, right? So we were relatable. My youngest is different. He's not athletic. He doesn't play sport. So, but he's academically inclined. So I had to develop, I had to relearn the process of disciplining or carry on mentorship with him. So that's why when he said, it's a learning curve that you have to learn as you move on from one child to the other. I started having children late, and for me, it was deliberate. I didn't want to have, based on my life, my situation, I didn't want to have children when I'm not prepared to take care of my kids. I didn't want to have children that will be taken care of by my mother, my extended family also. I just wanted to take care of my own kids. And I'm not refusing the help from other family members, but I wanted to take care of my own kids because I did not have that where, I was taking care of my own father and being brought up that way. Not that I did not have, men in my life that were great, great, great inspirers. And I'm not going to take that away from them. Great people that I had around me in the support system. But it's a whole lot different when you have your own father or your own mother in your life. It's a whole lot different because now there's no blame game, right? as you all know. And I just wanted to bring up my kids that tomorrow, if they failed, it will be because my dad wasn't there or so. So I didn't want those excuses. All right. I did not make excuses for my father not being around. My father was a great, great man. The last couple of decades that we actually got together and united or reunited was very powerful, very appreciative. My dad was a great man. But, early on as a child, right, you come from school, you want someone to be able to sit with you and talk about your schoolwork and be able to do homework and all of those things. So that's one of the reasons why I was driven to actually have children be there that way, that from the day they were born into my hands, right? And growing up, they grew up waking up in the morning, seeing me, and not absentee father or not a part-time father, being a full-time father, and carrying on my duties. So waking up when they come from school, we sit and do homework. That's the bounding process. That's so important, so intricate when it comes to the society. You see, the fundamental block of the society, family, right? So important. The reason why you see today Liberia is like that because of the dysfunctionality of our, family. So disintegrated, but we expect to build a better society. If we don't reverse that to start for parents, for fatherhood, for motherhood, and those things to exist first because they're where the learning process is, right? We're not going to have a functional society. I will tell you this. We're not going to have a functional society. So that's why it was so important to me because I have come through the different eras in Liberia where I have understood from being a child from understanding 1980 to the different changes in our social political dynamics, and so to understand what it meant to have a family. That's the building block. When you see the nucleus of the society, the family, we are the product of the society. The family is the product of the society. Everything we breed into our children, those are the things that we out there in the society, those are the things that we actually. So my kids, it was deliberate when I wanted to have kids. I'm not going to take it away from people that were not prepared, but for me, it was deliberate. I didn't want to have children if I cannot be able to play the father the role. I did not want to, so it was deliberate, and I thank God that God was able to really, really lead me that way to have children when I wanted to at the time, because uh, to be capable of having children at the same time having children that you are not capable of, training or being a role model or trying to inspire them, it's a whole different thing. And there are a lot of parents that were not prepared, but they became parents. They learned as they went on, and that's great. And those are the people that some of us, we stand today, we applaud, we say, you know why you are not prepared, but you stood and were able to learn and were able to teach and were able to stand by your children and made them good people for the society. That's great. Those are the people that we champion today. And we say thanks to you all, because in life, nothing comes the way you want things to come. We all plan, right? But we all got to go through a phase of where sometimes things may not work out the way we want them to work out. But you still, as a parent, as an adult, there where you make adjustments. There where you ought to sit and recalibrate and be able to channel the course and be able to stand tall and be able to shoulder those things. So that there where, I learned from Leo just say, and I will go back to, I will piggyback on it to say, every child is different. But you have to learn, be able to be a quick learner and be able to navigate and be able to be a father and stand up and be able to inspire, all right? Be able to motivate, be able to teach your children. Those things are very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing for me. What is surprising the most is that looking at my little girl and hearing some of the difficult questions from her. My ex and I, separated. My daughter would come to me and say, Daddy, why are you here? Why are you here? Mommy is over there, and asking all the hard questions, right? And I have to respond to, she's just 5 and she just turned 6, right? I have to respond to some of the hard questions. Like her birthday just yesterday, I took her, I had everything laid out. And usually I would take her Saturday to do her nails, to do her feet and stuff like that. So when I took her to do her feet yesterday, the nails in her feet yesterday, she said, Daddy, why mommy didn't come with us? I'm like, Mommy is busy with other things, because I don't want to. I try to not, she's little. I try to not have that conversation with her, and so to not get her too emotional about some of the things. But she sees it, but I'm kind of holding back because I don't want to have the conversation with her. And every time she will come up with something, and she's very, very smart. So she will come up with these different questions, kind of be lay on the bed and having fun, or we go to the park or go to the water park, and she asking all these difficult questions, and I'm asking myself, like, how do I respond to her? This makes fatherhood extremely difficult, and surprising. How do I respond to this kid right here, and she wants to know what's going on with dad and mom is on the other side, dad is on the other side, what's going on? But then the balance in terms of how I treat her, how I take care of her as a dad, and not worry about, what's going on between mom and dad and stuff like that, or what has happened, so I try to balance it out, but it's kind of surprising and difficult at the same time to kind of balance it out. So I try to navigate the two to say, Mama, you know what, Daddy got you, Mommy got you. Mommy did the hair, right? Yeah, she did the hair, so I'm responsible for the nails and the feet and stuff like that. And then she just laugh about it, and then we joke about it and stuff like that. But it keeps coming up. And so, it's going to be a time where I'm going to have the conversation with her. But, at this point, I'm just feel that, she's making life a little bit difficult for Daddy, but that's okay. We can navigate it and see how we can. So these are some of the surprising moments for my little girl, and the question keeps coming up all the time. Even when I change my car, I say, but Daddy, Mommy got another car. Why you can you give her the other car? I'm like, mommy gonna be okay. Mommy, she's all right. If she want a car, she can. I just try to find a way to just skip some of the hard questions she be trying to put forward. But they're kids, and they're not gonna
They're
dwell with.
curious.
Right. That's right. So
Very curious.
I try to balance it out. But those are some of the surprising and difficult moments with my kids and as a father. So I just wanted to put it out there. Yeah.
So Abraham, before we go to Desmond, I have one for you. So at some point in time, are you gonna tell her at a certain age? Are you gonna tell her?
Yeah, you know what? Yes, I'm gonna tell her.
They tell you woman can put people on the spot.
Eh?
I said they tell you woman can put people on the spot.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So what I decided to do was I first decided to take her to to my office counseling. For her to sit down with my counselor in my office, and sit out with my counseling for my office and put it some of the questions she's been asking. I've been taking down notes so to have a conversation with my counselor at the office, and then I can take her there myself, spend a day with me at the office, and then we can have that conversation with the counselor at the office, and then we can see how I can begin to answer some of the questions with the counselor. So that's what I'm doing, but I want to give it a little bit of time, and see how that plays out. So that's where I am right now. Yeah.
Well, that's a good step to get, evolve a professional person in the process,
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing. Desmond, not last but not the least. Are you on mute? Looks like he's not. You there?
Yeah. Sorry.
You're busy in that chat room. Calm this out.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was on mute. I was on mute.
That man is
telling people
sleeping.
the backroom story
He's
about.
sleeping.
Don't be telling people the backroom stories. However, right, I'm gonna try to answer this question because I think a lot of people didn't. So my surprise about being a father is time. Right? Juxtaposing fatherhood with time has been the biggest elixir for me throughout this process. And I think in the next 5 years it'll be better. In the next 10 years it'll be better. Because I think the more I get older, the less I care about things I thought I care about, the things I thought that were important, right? Things I thought that was very, very, I was gung-ho on, this would not be. The only thing I think that has surprised me the most, that I love my kids regardless of what their actions are. I love my kids irrespective of the decision making. I love my kids regardless of whatever they become. I love my kids regardless of whatever they achieve. I love my kids. And the only reason I can say those words is because time has given me the process to experience that, right? And the way I know that is because through all the adversities that I've been through, and the fact that I can come back and when to do something, like my 20-year-old say something to me, she's the one that we having a problem with now. When I say we, her mother and I, she has these things. She has a boyfriend. That's what the problem is. So we'll go back and forth with boyfriend. She didn't talk to her for a few months. And when she started, boyfriend did this, she came back to us. I remember, and I started to think about it. I said, if this was any friend of mine or relative, I would have cut them off. But she came back, was like, nothing happened. You know what I mean? I was just happy that she was talking again. So I think the biggest surprise that I've had as an individual from a parent standpoint has been time and the fact that I love my kids.
Sherry, Minerva? You're on mute. You're on mute. Minerva, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm. So let me pass it. Oh yeah, you're talking all this good thing. Hey, Ime, how are you? From Canada. So the question I have here: what is your stand on LGBT? And will you accept your child if he or she is gay, lesbian, or transgender, or saying they want to, especially the younger one coming up, saying that they want to change their gender? So who want to start first? Go ahead. This is a question. This is a question I know for us, the African men.
Oh,
For the
Lord.
African men,
Lord.
this is
Call
Oh,
me
first thing
Uncle
is
Joe at
Go ahead
16
to the
years, so you
go
got
ahead to the
one
other
roll
question,
call
please.
here. We
I'm
gotta
a
do
go
roll call
roll.
here.
Okay.
We
I
gotta roll
will
call
start with
here.
my own brother. I will start with my brother in there, Emmanuel. Can you start?
No,
Hey,
That's
Emmanuel
Leo,
is not
Leo,
here.
Leo,
Leo.
Leo,
Leo,
I'm
not
Leo.
talking
you.
about Leo.
Leah?
Leo.
So
Leah,
so
you're
Leo,
Minerva
can you
too?
speak?
everybody having to identify. Okay, no problem.
Ah,
No,
Leo,
no,
you start.
Leo.
Uh,
If you want, I can go if you want. If you
no,
want
Ben,
to,
I'm totally okay.
Minerva,
I'm
put
totally
your
okay.
go.
country out.
Yeah.
What?
So the first thing I would say to
And let
people
me
is
say, I know this is a long question, so you know when we pass it up, we'll come back with follow up questions. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, Emmanuel, good to see you as well. This is how I say to people. I think sometimes we often forget that we do not need to agree with our children for them to be our children. So my views or my thoughts on transgender LGBTQ gender issues do not have to align with my children for them to be my children. And let me say this very clearly. I think that's the issue of the swinging of the pendulum. That we've left no space that somebody can say, I disagree with you. They don't need to hate you. I don't need to hate you. I don't need to dislike you for what you believe, whether it's on gender issues or not. I can respectfully disagree with you, but still respect you for who you are. I don't need to disagree with you. So when my child comes to me with their views on gender issues, I don't need to agree with my child for them to be my child. My disagreement should not equate to rejection of them. I think that's absolutely wrong. We can respectfully disagree. We can't live in a society anymore where we say nobody can disagree. We all must agree. So for me, I would tell you, regardless of my child's stance on gender issues or any of the issues that have been mentioned, they still remain my child. And that does not mean we don't have fundamental disagreements. We can even have fundamental disagreements over religion. Let me use another one because that's another tricky one where you see parents fight over whether their child become Muslim, atheists, or Christians or whatever based on their upbringing. The same with gender issues for me. Just because I have a fundamental disagreement with my child, whether it's on morality, issues of morality, or gender, or whatever that is, that in no way should ever equate to the question of whether they are still my child rejected or not. No, they will always remain my child, and I owe the same responsibility, the same love, the same care I would have given them just as I would. Just because we have a fundamental disagreement on something does not equate to a question of rejection or not. You should never be in a position to reject your child. If
thank
God
you.
blesses you to bring a child into this world, you cannot undo that fact. You have a responsibility to that child. Do you have fundamental disagreements with them? Absolutely. And that should be welcome over any issue. It should be tolerated that sometimes you would disagree with them on gender issues, on sexual issues, and all of it. But that does not equate to the level of me having to ask a question as to whether I must accept or reject them as my child. No, I'm sorry. It does not equate to that point. So for me, because our views also evolve, what I believe today, who knows in 5 years where I will be? That may evolve. I may believe certain things today, and in 5 years, I may learn a whole lot that my thinking and my beliefs and thoughts will evolve. So I cannot do temporary things to equate it to permanent things. Being my child is a permanent stuff. The evolution of my thoughts and my belief is temporary. It evolves as I get older, as I mature, as I get more educated, as I learn. So for me, the two are not the same. I cannot equate them.
Okay, before we go further, we enjoying this, but we look at the time too. So I know it's a topic that we really want, and we can come back again play another day. And I think my ladies are ready, but we'll go to Emeka. I hope I'm pronouncing the names
Em-
right.
Emeric,
Emeric to Emeric.
Emric,
Emeric.
yeah, Emric.
Oh, okay. You know, this is the whole issue of education, right? First of all, when you are caught up in this mindset, in this environment where you're not that educated as you should be, your whole perspective about issues, is different. So we're not going to politicize the question, right? or from a raw standpoint, from a biblical and traditional standpoint. I'm going to be able to answer from that. But at the same time, too, I have to understand where my son or my children or my sons are born. They are born in a complete different environment from where I was brought up, where what I know. So, like Leo said, right? You can't pick. You cannot decide for your children, even though you may want them to emulate you, right? You may be glad that they emulate you, but at the same time, too, they have their own way in life. And I think diversity too is very, very important, and that's how we get respected. That's how we respect other people. That's how we respect the views of other people. But once we cannot interact because we have the intolerance in us, then we divorce ourselves from the ideologies from other people, and that's not diversity. That's not openness in any gathering. It cannot develop any country in any way. Because you see, some of the people, I will tell you this, right? My whole view changed in my lifetime about people of that background. It changed when I started working with them, even though I'm from a different background. But at the same time, too, if I can be hypocritical. I can tolerate them while I'm in America living. I can I can embrace them while I'm in America living, even though that's not my lifestyle, right? But then I had to, when I go back home, then I show, because I want to fit into that gathering, I show the level of intolerance for them. It simply means that's why we, as a country, now moving forward, because you being pretentious. You come over here, you abide by this, but then when you go back home, you stand with this. As a parent, I would not want my children to come from that background, but yet and still, I will have a place known that they are humans. They are humans. I will have a place to know that there should be some level of understanding and tolerance, but I would not want it because of my background. But my background is not based on the decision of my children to where they go or how they live their lives. And that's how I'm going to relate to that question. A beautiful question, a great question. It's nothing to politicize. It's just like my upbringing was never that way. It's not something that I'm exposed to. But once my children are brought up under my roof, I think they should be able to emulate me, my lifestyle, and what I stand for. Okay. But if the worst case scenario where they fall in any of those categories, right? I don't think I'm going to hang myself. I don't think I'm going to say I'm going to reject them. The fact that once they're born, they are born of me. That's a fact that you can never, never alter. I don't care what, you can never alter. It's established and it's done. So thanks, Minerva, for that question. A very brilliant question. I will tell you this.
Thank you.
Very, very tricky. Very brilliant. Yeah.
And I could have a follow up because
Yeah.
of time. We ask everybody, and then we'll come back to the follow up. So
Thank
I will
you.
go to SB because SB, driving. I think he has break down. So I will ask him where he start.
Yes,
SB,
you guys can hear me?
yeah, we
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
Great. I think it's a great question. It's a sensitive question, if I may add, but I will say this. I will answer the question based on principle, and I don't want, you know, the principles to be uh, equated to hate or dislike. Um, as parents, it's our responsibility to always be open to choices that our children may make. Some of them we may like, and some of them we may not like. Like Leo said, one of my responsibilities as a parent is not to be a friend to my kids. I love them. I share laughter with them. We play, we joke, but the foundation is that I'm the parent, and it's my responsibility to always share light on things, educate them, and give them some of our fundamentals as individuals. When we were growing up, and then hope that they will make a better decision based off of that. You know, we live in a society now where things are different. When we grew up, where we grew up in Liberia, some of the things that I'm not even going to say some. I'm going to say most of the things that we are exposed to now, we didn't get to see, those things growing up. And I think it has become more challenging for our children to live in the society that we live in today because there's so much confusion. So just to be direct to the question, I think my responsibility first and foremost is I pray to God to ask him that, my children will follow the same footstep as my parents and myself, right? And what I believe in from a principle standpoint. But also if I were faced with a situation where, certain decision doesn't align with my principles, I have to sit down with my kids and have a conversation with them. Let them know how I feel about it and how the war may perceive them to be and some of the challenges that they may face. Um, it's just one of those things where based on what you believe in and how you grew up, you pray and hope that God answers your prayer and that you continue to be a parent to your children no matter what, right? I'll give you an example. I see for you guys who watch sports, Magic Johnson has a son, EJ, who's who's a homosexual, and he posts pictures of his family, is him, himself and his family, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and you go on his page, he leave his page open for comments, and if you see some of the hate comments that people will put on that post, it's disgusting. Oh my God, it's disgusting. And the reason why I go on and to read those comments is because it teaches me a lesson. It teaches me a lesson that when you face with these type of adversity as a parent, what do you do? What is your role to continue to be that protector to your children or to your child? So I go on and I read those comments and I say to myself, why some of us may not want our kids to have a certain type of lifestyle if we were faced with these things, how do you handle it? So I go on there, and even the same thing with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade has a daughter, a son who is transition. And let me just say something quickly. I worked at years ago. I worked at Women's College Hospital downtown Toronto here, and I was in a pre-op clinic, right? And we used to do BPMH, which is best possible medication history, and I had to see patients who were coming in, and one of my responsibilities was to assess all of the drugs they're taking, documented, prior to surgery, and I've dealt with people who transition, as from the example that I gave you. I had young boys, 14, 15-year-old young boys who were transitioning to the other sex, and then I had young girls who were transitioning to the opposite sex. And one of the things I learned from that is to not dismiss what you believe in, but to try to be empathetic, putting yourself in someone else's shoes and just understand. And sometimes you may not understand it. You may not get a direct answer as to why and how, but just understanding that sometimes in life, you may not always get what you want. And when you face with adversity, how you handle that adversity and how you handle things that are completely opposite from what you believe in would determine the type of relationship you will have with people. So for me, again, like I said, first and foremost, I pray to God that my kids, will follow the same principle that I have growing up as a man. And if I were faced with certain situation, I pray to always be a great parent first. And you never know how those conversations would go and what would be the conclusion, but you try to use all your experiences and things that you've been exposed to help your children. So that would just be my answer on that.
Thank you.
All right.
You on mute.
Thank you so
I am
much.
sorry. I am so sorry.
Please let me go. Babe wants to talk.
I know. We have some very thought-provoking questions for you guys. And we know we're not able to finish everything today, but we will try our best. That Sunday, all the barbecues are going around.
Right.
I know Minnesota in that easy, but I will take my time. So we asked Ben to go.
So I have to move away because some of my friends are there. Those people we're talking about, some of them are on the other side of the pool.
Okay.
So,
that's sensitive.
But
lower your voice,
no, at a point in time, but look, if my child will become that, the child is X. A completely X out of my life. I'm not going to hit you, but you're out. This thing is personal to me for so many reasons. I work in surgery when I see these things done. I had to I had to be a part of it. I had to be a part of the process, so I know, so I understand it. In the first place, there's a big word the white man uses because dysphoria. So he's saying that people who do these things, they are confused. They don't know which gender they fall into. My scientific argument has always been, so if this is true, that you are confused about who you are, then this is a problem. Then we can call this, um, then we can find a diagnosis about this thing, and call this that this is not normal. This is an abnormal behavior, because every human being is supposed to produce 5 fingers. If you have 6 fingers, it's an abnormality. It's not normal. But the confusion with the scientific class has always been, you are trying to redefine what a normal is. Now you want to say, oh no, this is not abnormality. No, it's not. It is okay because someone says they are. In the first thing, Proverbs 22:6, as a Christian, it says, train a child in the way you want him to grow, so that when he's older, he will not depart from it. I am a believing Christian, and I believe in that Bible verse so dearly to say that I start my kids out and tell you, hey, this is who you are, and this is what you want to be. I no, my father brought me up. I was supposed to be the doctor in the family. Unfortunately, the Civil War came. It didn't work. It didn't happen. The first time when I came to America and I told my father I was going to school for nursing, this man almost fainted. He's almost fainted. He was like, "What the? Like you? No way. You can't do that woman thing. What, nurse? No, you can't do it." It took it took me time to convince my father. Somebody can say the same to me. It would take you time to convince that child of yours, like the same way how you were able to convince your father. But I bet you it's not going to happen. And with me in my life, no, I can work with
So
people like that. But in as my child, you hell no.
so
Thank
since
you.
Ben is
And
seems to be, can I
and
ask a
No,
follow
no,
up
no,
question?
Leo, wait.
But
and
I'm
Leo,
out.
I want, let
but
me ask.
Will,
we,
Let
this
Leo ask
question,
if I, let Leo ask.
this
If it was
question
a
we
question
thought
for
was
Ben,
going to
because
bring
Ben
a
answered her
lot of
own,
talk
you know.
of,
I don't have an
but
analysis. It's just a follow up question. That's all.
no, Leo, I
But same
understand.
way,
I
very small.
understand,
let's
but we
finish the
have
round
other
table.
people here to talk. And maybe if we have enough time, we'll come back because myself I have a follow up question. So, but we ask Desmond to go.
I see why
Oh, I don't,
Desmond said hold it down. That Desmond time.
I don't know where to start with the war soup that Ben just spilled. But anyways, I will give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. This is a man that can go work with the people for money. He can be principal on a paycheck. There's no principalities when it comes to a paycheck. But the loving a child at time, no, your time finished. Wait, but the time
He's
of loving
already
a
Desmond,
child,
please
he's
answer the
politics and
question.
power.
Desmond,
He,
please,
he,
yeah.
Desmond,
The man is saying must be a
Desmond,
comment. Anyone can respond to the man.
please,
the man over politics and power
please
and the
And
tell
time
us.
of a
powers.
paycheck.
Guys, no politics
But
here.
wait,
No
no
politics. We
politics.
don't have a
Let me
fatherhood
continue. Let
here.
me continue.
So,
Let me continue. I, Ben and I have this discussion before, so I'm just move forward. But this is what I would say, right? It's the hypocrisy in Liberians. I'm not gonna because I think when we say transgender, right? I think that's the focus of Ben discussion is transgender. But I'll go to something that I think I always like to make this comment. Liberians have 1 degree of separation, meaning I know tell you no knows. We all know what it means, but I'll do it for the audience anyways. I know tell you know Emeric. I've met Emeric. Technically, I know TELVINA. You guys can go to Texas right now. Yes, it's Emeric. I'm in Houston. Who you know here? Emeric called TELVINA. So Desmond come to my house. She don't have to see me. That's a level of Liberian connection, right? Now, I say that's to say this. Every Liberian know a gay person, gay Liberian. Every Liberian does, right? We're only homosexual when our gay person that we know is not around or is a distance away from us. So what I'm saying is this: to get to this question, and let's move forward because I know since Minerva is talking about time. this is what it is for me. It's quite simple. My job is not to be, I spend more time on this earth as an adult than I spend as a child. With God above, my children will live longer time on earth as adults than children, right? Legally, my perception on time with kids is about 18 years, legally, in the space that we live. I will always be the dad, but I will not always be the person that can restrict their movement and do things. I have this is the classic case of projection, right? This is what I want for your life. And you're going to be living it, but this is what I want for your life. Therefore, if you don't do it, then boom, it makes me feel bad or makes me look bad, right? I'll give you a case. My mom, we lost our little brother in 2013 to July 27. My little brother died in Rhode Island. He got addicted to heroin in December. He died in July, right? December 2012, he died in July, 26 months. The day he got addicted, I have a very, very open mouth. When I say open communication lines with my mother. The night he used heroin the first time, he came into his mom. He was in rehab twice between that time. The week he died, he called and told me to pick him up. I lived in Maryland at the time, to pick him up because I just came from rehab. You don't want to be in a shitty environment. So I went home that July 26th weekend. I said, Nash, let's go. He said, oh no, I want to get my driver's license. It was in NA class. I need to get my driver's license and blah, 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 blah. In the NA class that we have to pay for ourselves. He was working. I said, I can give you the money. He said, no, I have to pay for it myself. So he went ahead, got paid that Friday, on July 26th. I went out with some friends. I stayed out that night. I walked back home in the house in the morning. My stepdad gave me CPR in the morning. He got a paycheck, bought a last dope to use, and it was laced with what you call the thing, that big, what a stupid truck called. Well, anyway, long story short. Fentanyl, yeah, with fentanyl, right? And Nash died, right? That's the issue now. You know, like, because my mom lived in Rhode Island. We grew up in Rhode Island. You know, like, oh man, they came to my mom, Temo, don't tell the people they say they bought that from drugs. You know what my mom said? My mom said the way he died, that how we talk about it. Because it's more important for people to know this is what happens if you use this, as opposed to you not to use it. You know why they were saying it? Because they were judging my mom's parenting. They were judging my mother's parenting. My mom said, well, you're funny. I raised 5 boys. One died from this. Does that mean I'm a bad parent?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's projection. It's not about anything else besides our ego and our projection of what we want our friends to think about us. Because Eugenia don't want Desmond to say, oh yeah, Eugenia's son or daughter gay. Eugenia's caring about herself. She's not caring about her child. Because she cares 1 ounce about her child, she will love her child irrespective of what her child does. If my child commit murder, I will not start loving. I would say, your boy in jail, but I will start loving him. Can't stop loving. He's my child. I don't see why people can't seem to rationalize this. You are projecting your personal opinions, your feelings, the way people talk about you. You're standing in the community. You're looking at it for your child as a senator in the U.S. House of Representatives, a Republican. I was completely anti-homophobic. Everything was homophobic. There's homophobic that from Ohio. His son came out and turned gay. Next day, he joined Democrat. Yeah, Rob Portman from Ohio.
Yeah.
How do you forget that person came out of you?
Yeah.
But you make it about yourself.
So many stories
and you
about
the person.
Yeah.
You make it about yourself and you project your own thing on them. And I tell you, that's what happens in our library community. The woman that came to the hall that day, tell me, let not say nothing. Let just leave it alone because, you go to the church, you'll see, my mom said, I'm begging her. I get filed cheering. I put one file there. If one file they want to use that, then the point will talk. But we can start talking about the one that had a situation that he self-came and we worked on. It's about the process. It's not the end, it's the process. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you for sharing.
Ben? Yeah, let me just
no.
If you have
no, you said we should wait. That
no, that's Abraham.
Oh,
no,
Abraham can go. Yeah.
We're not going back. Abraham.
You guys know Ben is a radical, right? So
You don't know, right?
So, you
We
know,
come to Abraham, sorry.
that's okay. This is a difficult conversation, right? Especially for us Africans, and especially in Liberia. You know, um, at my office, I work with a lot of gays. In my office, I got people in my office who are gay, lesbians, and transgender, and all the kinds of things. And I think, you know, it is important for us to have an open mind about, what happens to our kids, if they turn out to be gay, lesbian, or transgender. It's extremely important, because you're an African parent and you leave from here, she's a transgender or whatever, and you want to go back home to take her back home, to visit or to get involved. Like Leo said, he took his son back home and he wants to do some project, back home and stuff like that. Assuming you have a transgender child or a boy or girl, whatever it is, and you take them back home. So one thing is the conversation, is good, and like everyone said, it's important for us to have an open mind and not superimpose on our kids, because if you don't like it, it doesn't mean that she's not your child, he's not your child, right? It's about, it's a difficult thing to accept, yeah, but that's her choice, or that's his choice, what he wants to do or what she wants to do. So it's about the acceptance of who she is or who he is, and how you both how you as a parent can be able to accept that in that child, and work with her and work with him, and become accepting instead of beating on her, beating on him, or not accepting her or not accepting him, because the world is evolving. There's a lot of things that's happening, around the world, in the world now, that we may not accept. But because our kids are involved every single day, they're growing every single day, they are involving every single day, they see these things, they participate, they see it. Yes, as a parent, it's our responsibility to guide in the process. But what if they go the other way and say, well, with all of the guardians, with all of the parenting and everything else, I choose to be a transgender, I choose to be a gay, whatever. You're not going to throw them away, you're not going to reject them, So I think it's a very good conversation, but my thing, if you take them from here and take them to Liberia, we all know now in Liberia, yeah, even though they have gay, lesbian there and so forth, transgender, but it's not accepting. So what if she goes there or he goes there? What happens in the process? So there has to be a way that all of us can spotlight it, and be the parent that we ought to be, and allow the kids to be kids. At the same time, parent them in a way that will grow or not, not depart from whatever, morals you're trying to teach them, But again, it's a good conversation that we need to have, as parents.
Okay. I know this question, I know we had a lot of follow-ups and things, but we'll put it in the parking lot for now, and we'll ask my sister Eugenia to ask a question. But we'll put that in the parking lot, but we still have time after everything and people stay on. Some of those questions and follow-ups will come on for us to talk about. So go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I myself have some follow-up to Ben on a statement, but I'll come back to him. So my next question is, how has your relationship with your own father How has your relationship with your own father influenced your parenting style? I know Emeric touched on this earlier a little bit when he talked about his father. But again, how has your relationship with your father influenced your own parenting style? Let's just start from the bottom. We'll start with Leo.
Yeah, keep it consistent.
Everything must start with Leo, eh?
I'm just kidding.
No, when we start with Leo, then we hope that I know.
Everything must start with Leo, eh? My kid and brother, but I don't care. Yes.
When they just have to make it a little bit.
Eugenia is my partner, so stay away.
Okay, anyway, all right, fair game.
That's some tea over there.
Mm-hmm. I know. I
no, don't
know.
let
I
me
know.
Anyway, I will go ahead and I will
That
answer the
deserves an
question.
investigation.
The thirst is
Not been
real. Especially thirsty people here. You don't get a bottle of water to drink.
okay.
Tell me,
So
pass that rake up to the test of God in me.
while you're fighting the battle of water, let me go ahead. Anyway, I think that's a very important question, and I'll be frank to say this: my relationship with my father, or lack thereof, hasn't had any impact because I didn't have the luxury of having that. Um, I grew up mostly with my mother in a single parent home, so I really cannot relate to a father. Now I had other male figures at different times in my life who played different roles or had impact on me in different ways. But when it comes to having a biological father or father figure, no. And in another way, I left home when I was 15 and had to live on my own all through in multiple different countries by myself in many different ways. So at some point, also there was not a mother figure present as well for most of my life. So um, I can't really, and it's something right now I'm trying to reconcile in my own life as I try to navigate it. My father is still alive. He's alive. He's not dead. But I haven't had a relationship or even a conversation, I think, in 25 years. Not even a conversation or sit down, or I don't even know when I saw him in person. So I really can't say much to that because my experience is what it is there. And it's still a journey for me. I'm still trying to unpack it and figure out in many different ways. So I guess a lot of my parenting comes from different people who have different influences on my life. Some of the things that has evolved with myself, and also being in a fortunate situation to have been a father to many other children before I had my own. Just because of the situation that I was in, a lot of other children I had to mentor, I had to raise that were not my own, just because of some of the things I got involved with at a very young age, having to have children come into my care in that way. Yeah, but that's I will stop there and say that's where I am.
Okay, thank you so much, Leo. Um, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
hear you again, Eugenia.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all know I live in the country. I don't know who was next. Ben, I think he's on the bottom, and then SB.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, my dad and I, it was like an African father and an African son uh,
What does that even mean, Ben?
relationship.
Help us.
You good? No,
I am coming
We're
there.
all
yeah,
African.
I almost
I
asked her what
no.
that was.
Tell us
Hold
more,
on.
Ben. Tell us more.
I almost asked her what does that even.
I am coming. Don't worry. I'm coming. So when I
We
say
all have African fathers, and we're African
no, you
sons.
guys see the differences. Come on, hold on. So the African parent is he doesn't say much. He gives command, and people do. So most of, I mean, the only time I can remember that I would really have really good talk with my dad is like if I did something good. Like I excelled in school. I used to be good in school when I was growing up in high school. So every time I did well, and I was because I was on the merit scholarship, those things brought proud to my dad. And so there we would talk. After that, that was it. Nothing else, just your son. You wouldn't listen to commands, do this, do this. So in fact, I can even add this to some of the way in which I was brought up. I was sometimes when I'm talking to my son, I say stuff to him. I say, "This is what I want you to do," and it's like I'm not asking you for suggestion. I'm telling you, this is what I want you to do. This is what you have to do. That's how my father carried me up. Now, today, in these modern Western world, where this Western society has just been able to try to destroy the fabric of our own tradition, where people think that things that the West have turned their back on before, things like big butt, it was the things that you would not even like. Things like things like herbal medication are things they would not even go for. Now, out of a flip, they're coming back to the same things. And you want me to forget about the parenting that my dad carried through to take on some laissez-faire attitude with my kid? Hell to the no. The only reason I gave my son one leeway because every time I send him money to go to computer school, he doesn't want to go to computer school. What you want to do? You want to do nursing. I know the guy doesn't. I know the guy doesn't get it, but and I always tell him, how do you survive in Liberia as a nurse? How do you? You would die. You would die trying, and nothing you want to do. But it's then someone tells me, "Oh, Ben, that's why he wants to. That's what he like to do." Look, some of the decisions some of us took today is monetary. I'll leave it. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If we have time in the end, I would like to ask Ben a follow up on that. That African parenting between African father and son, was that love? But we can come back. Think about that, Ben. Because go ahead, SB.
I mean, look, I can go on for days talking about my father. Leo here knows my dad very well. Leo met my dad many times, interacted with him. May his soul rest in peace. I lost my dad in 2015 to cancer, but my dad was great, man. Listen, my dad was fantastic. He wasn't a disciplinarian in the home. My mom was, but my dad was very, very, very supportive. He was all of my work ethic, and people always get on my case all the time. They say you work a lot, you're always working. But my dad was like that. Both of my parents didn't even pass the sixth grade. And they believe in education. And my dad used to work. You guys, those of you who grew up in Monrovia, are you aware of a Diana restaurant? You heard of Diana restaurant? Yeah, Desmond, Emeric. But my dad used to work. Sorry, Desmond,
Just
you
heard of
muted. I
it.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard of
Yeah,
it.
no, Madonna restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think back then it was owned by some Italians, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong, but my dad used to work at Diana restaurant. He used to clock in 12 to 16 hours a day just to make sure that we got a better start of life, right? So myself and all of my siblings, we were blessed enough to have a father like that. We all went to good schools growing up in Liberia. He was a dedicated father. He loved everyone. If you come and see my dad today, he always had a bottle of wine for anybody who stopped by the house to visit. Man, he just taught us to love life, enjoy life. He was very cool. He had no issues with anybody. So anytime you see me acting up on Facebook, it's not from my dad. I think I got that feistiness from my mom. Um, and he was very quiet, but when you get to know him, lovely guy. He loved his kids, loved his grandkids. I remember when I had my daughter Blair, I used to take Blair to the house, and as soon as I get there in the morning, drop her off before I leave for work, he'll be at the door waiting. But I'll tell you an interesting thing about my dad, right? Before he passed away, and Leo, I don't think we never discussed this, but my dad used to call me every day, and he would leave a voicemail. Son, how you doing? I just called to say hi. And my mom, with her fussy self, yeah, her in the background. Why are you always calling the boy? The boy's at work, but you keep calling his phone, disturbing him. And my dad used to, but every day my dad would call, and he would just leave like a 30 seconds, 45 seconds voicemail. Oh, son, how you doing? I'm just calling to say hi. And he was very private. When I take my dad to see the doctor, he had a open heart surgery early 2000. So I used to take him to the doctor all the time. If I couldn't go, my sister would go.
would take him for his regular checkup. And when you go to the doctor's clinic, just like he would do when you follow him to the bank, my dad would tell you to stay outside. You can't come in to know what's going on. So if my dad is at the ATM machine getting money from the machine, you're not allowed to stay. He was very private like that. Not that he didn't, he didn't love, but he was just private, very private. So the reason why I say this is because when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, I remember I took him to the doctor that day. I thought it had something to do with his heart because he was, losing weight rapidly and he was in a lot of pain. I couldn't understand it, but then his cardiologist said, no, he's fine. The replacement valve, everything is fine. But, when we noticed that his spleen was enlarged, we took him. My dad said, wait outside. He wouldn't let me come into the room where even though he knew I was in healthcare and I would like to learn more. He said, no, wait outside. And later on, we found out the reason why he did that is because he was protecting my mom. He knew my mom worried so much, and that if she found out that he had cancer, she wouldn't have been able to deal with it. So the truth of the matter is, we didn't know my dad had cancer until I would say, maybe 3 weeks to a month before his death. When we found out, at that point, it was already stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And my mom didn't quite understand why. I spoke to my dad and he said, look, I was protecting you guys. I wanted you guys to keep your sanity in check. I knew, I know how much you guys worry, especially your mom. And I didn't want this to be a burden on you guys. And that's just the kind of person that he was. The family was always first and very appreciative. Let me tell you something. You come home and you can have $5 and give my dad $2.50, and he would make you feel like you just gave him $1 million. That's how he was. So great guy. I love him, and I wouldn't change anything. When it comes to my dad. My dad was during the war. My dad was stuck in the village. He went to visit his family people in the village, and he couldn't come back to the city. So he was stuck in the village for 3 years. We didn't get to see him, and when he came back, it was like he was always there. Nothing changed, so great guy. And I'm glad, my brother Leo here had a chance to meet my dad on a few occasions. We share some wine, we talk, we laugh, we enjoy life. Wonderful guy.
SB, can I interrupt you 1 second?
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, SB, can you tell us, do you think your dad would be happy with your parenting style now?
Oh yeah, because I see a lot of myself in him as far as my passion towards my kids. Let me tell you something. I'll go to a brick wall for my kids. I'll tell you that right now. Anybody that knows me, you can say all the negative things you want to say about me, but when it comes to my kids, they're my number one priority, and I will go through a brick wall for all of them. So yes, you'll be very, very proud.
Okay, thank you. Can we go ahead to Desmond? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I think I was muted because the thing I was saying wasn't necessary.
Sorry, guys. I just want to ask a question. Are you anybody streaming the show on Facebook?
Yeah, it's on my page.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
I don't think somebody.
Okay.
Oh, we stream it during the week again. Are you sure I replay the show this week? Yeah, but it's on my page.
It's live on Facebook on your page. Okay.
It's live on my page as well.
On Desmond, on Ben.
Yeah.
I'm sure Leo, Eric, but I will restream it again midweek. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So just to get to the question, right? How's my father influenced my parenting style? Fortunately for me, I have a lot of different fathers, right? I have my dad, I have my stepdad, I have Wilmer Roberts, my uncle, I have my uncle Patrick, and that's just because the unique circumstances I was conceived. It's not unique, but to Liberia, it's not unique, but it's not normal anyways. I'm gonna put my mom business out there, but she the one did it anyway, so we can talk about it. I didn't do it, she did it. My father and my grandfather are 3 years apart in age. And my dad was 54 years old when I was born. So I can remember when I talk about parenting, I remember one instance with my dad, and my dad hit me. I think I'm about 12 or 14. He hit me and said something nasty to me. And I threatened to sue him in Liberia. So I remember that instance, right? And after that, my father and I had a very direct, open relationship. So I can see how that influenced it with me and my girls, as you bringing it up now. It influenced that for me, where my father gave me some level to give me the ability to speak at 14 years old. My dad was a very eloquent lawyer, very, very astute person from an intellectual standpoint. but he always had. I could say, however I felt after that incident to my dad, because the way I carried on, right? He thought he would have said something to me or did something to me as a child, and I was going to take it as a child. He said something to me that was very, very uncalled for, and I said, no, you don't talk to me like that. And after that, it was like we had a discussion, so I can see how that influenced my relationship with my girls. I'm very open for discussion. Now, I also see the different influences. Like my stepdad is very laissez-faire. My stepdad is a man's man. When I say a man's man, my stepdad called my mom Princess. He's 5 years younger than my mom. My mom had 3 children when they met. He had 0 children, and they've been together. So, you know what I mean? My stepdad's Lebanese. Everything that could be said about different men.
A man's man.
And I'm about to tell you, I'm about to tell you the definition of a man's man to me, so you can use your own. So when I say my stepdad's a man's man, my stepdad don't tell you nothing to do. My stepdad show you what to do, right? For example, my mom would say she want, like, one time I went home, they had done the kitchen. So I tell my mom, I said, dude, me and my stepdad, it was my aunt's birthday. So my mom already had the party. So I said, oh, go, you guys fix the kitchen. He's like, oh no, it's your mom. She's always wasting money. She's wasting money on this one. She's wasting money on that one. Then he takes me to the room, and then he showed me a new gun he just bought. So I'm sitting there laughing, but you don't tell a man with a gun in the hand that he's making the wrong decision, right? So just laughed about it. But the point here is, whatever my mom wants, my stepdad will puff and moon, but he does it. In my opinion, he showed me how to treat, a female significant other in a relationship. But he's never been the kind of person like, oh, you go do this one, you go do that one. He gets up in his morning, put his bag on his back, and does his thing. In my opinion, that's why he showed me to be a man's man. So I have that influence as well. I have the ability to talk to my girls from the way my father treated me. I have an ability to think about praying for my children the way Uncle Roberts did for his sons. Pray for your children, because I've seen these influences around me, and it was good that looking back on it, is an added value as opposed to now where some people, I can say, it was bad when I was a child, not experiencing it. I live in the same house with my dad. It was bad, but now looking back on it is an added advantage. I'm gonna get me a charger. I'll be back.
All right, thank you, Desmond. And Abraham, last but not least.
So I want to ask this the SB guy. So why he can be posting on Facebook every day? SB, what a man.
Abraham, answer your question.
He said he got it for his mom.
So for me,
he's doing this.
Right. So for me, I never had a relationship with my dad. My biological dad, he was never in my life. He had me, and then he left. With my mom, and my mom was left to struggle. So my mom went and talked to my uncle, and my uncle took me in. So, and my uncle, I stayed with my uncle for the rest, until I knew myself and, went to college, sent me to college, to school, graduated, and all that kind of stuff. And then in my sophomore year at LU, I think I was on a radio program, King's FM, something like that. And that's when my dad, for the first time, knew he had a son, and I think my little brother took him to the radio station. He went there to wait for me at the radio station. So when I came down from the studio, that's when he knew he had a son, and that was the first time I ever met my dad, and so that broke me. And so we never had a relationship. And then when a few years down after I graduated from LU, and then he took sick, and then I had to take care of him when I moved to Bonneville Estate. I had to take care of him. So we bonded a little bit before I came to the States, and then he passed, and we had to bury him. But with respect to the question, I tried to do it differently because I didn't have a relationship with my dad, so I tried to create the bond with my kids and give them the love that I didn't have. And fortunately for me, when I lived with my uncle, my mom took me to my uncle. He did all he could, so I got most of my love and the affection from my uncle. Of course, he was a disciplinarian, but I got some of the upbringing from my parenting from my uncle. And so I try It was not all easy, but I tried to do it differently, because I had a lot of other folks in my life who taught me good parenting, who helped me along the way. And I thought that there was, I needed to do it differently with my kids, so that's what I tried to do. So I learned some level of parenting from different people, from different parents, from different people, not from my biological dad, because he was never there, from my uncle who was always there. He taught me some skills. He taught me a lot of different things, so that helped me. That helped me a lot, to help my kids, to be in my kids' life, and to teach them good parenting, to be there for them as well. So to answer your question, I didn't get it from my dad directly, but yes, I got it from other parents. I got it from my uncle and other people that helped me in my parenting skills as well. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. All right, Telvi.
Over to me. Thank you guys for sharing. Very
I didn't
touching
know.
story.
I didn't know the whole record.
Watch her, man, all day. Watch her. Watch her.
Now why you don't go off camera?
What? We check
I see what's going back and forth. I'm coming. I'm going to check on the technical issue and let's go and come back.
No. Very touchy story.
We were too serious, so I just thought to bring something like a laugh.
No, man, we're not being serious. We share life stories there. Hopefully, some people are learning from all of this. For me, I have learned a whole lot from all of you guys, and that's why I decided for call the ladies for us to talk about this. Your different posts. Sometimes we post things on Facebook, and sometimes we make it a joke, or we think nobody's watching. But I've learned a whole lot from you guys, and I'm going to share some of them. Some of them, it brought back trauma. Some of them brought good memories, and it's worth sharing. And I thought we could come on the show for you guys to expand more. So let me start. Say as we were complaining that we started with Leo, we'll start with him. So y'all let me know if you can see this. As we always make different posts, but this was one of the many that I took down. And to see, I think he always shared about his children, but this one, where the first day back to school, and he was committing his children to God. And I was just like, man, growing up, there was all the mothers that were always praying, praying for our children. You mean like, bro, my mom was always praying for, plead blood, Jesus, blah, 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 blah. And to see a young father committing his children to the Lord, I mean, that, for me, it brought tears to my eyes. And I was like, I started to praise that God. I thank you for breaking that generational curse from our generation, that they're rewriting the story from our fathers and our great-grandfather. So what was going through your mind when you posted this?
You know what? I can't remember, but I think there was a shooting that had happened somewhere around that time. If it wasn't at the Walmart shooting, it was something happened. I can't remember exactly the event, but it was a shooting that had occurred somewhere in the U.S. and it was sad because I think kids were involved. There was something with a school shooting that happened. Oh, there was one where they shoot up barricaded. Was it? I think it was a transgender or something. Barricaded himself upstairs and went to the school with the kids, and there was a lot of the kids got hurt that day. I can't remember the exact. It's been a while now, but so it was the following week. My girls, they started a new school year, and I was just kind of reminiscing, like, I'm a protector, but I'm not always gonna be there with my kids. And if I'm not there, who's gonna look after them? So I was just saying to God, like, just watch over them for me when I'm not around, because the world we live in is such a scary place, and our kids are going to school, we're at work, we're doing what we got to do, and we're not usually there all of the time. And it's scary, to be honest. It's really scary. This is something that plays on my mind all the time, because we don't know who's entering those doors, when our kids are in school. So, and this is one of the reasons why I take upon myself to make sure I call every day, talk to them, know what's going on. One of the incidents that happened with one of the kids in my daughter Blair, my older daughter, the one in the blue, one of the boys, I refer to her as a monkey, and her mom would not let me go to the school because she already knew that once I stepped foot on that school, I would have been I would have been a mess. But it's just that protective nature. And when you feel helpless, you're not there. And the best you can do is just to ask God to just be that guidance and provide that shield for them. So that was the reason why I made that post. And you see how they look now. If you see them now, they're 2 times those size as you see them. They're so big now. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's more.
I was just want to ask SB a quick question. Is Joella your ex?
Who?
Just a name in the comments say Joella love Wallace. Yeah.
That man says
That's
something,
my-
man. Let me ask you
my little sister.
I don't know. We stay on the picture. When I say you come in, back to the topic. Don't take our phone after.
Hold on, Jeffy. Let me just say this quickly. My parents, my mom and dad.
Joella can be jealous. Joella can be jealous of her.
Yeah, Leo knows Joella. Joella is she's the last of our parents. Yeah, that's my little sister.
She's beautiful.
Okay. So next
she doesn't want you, Benjamin. She told me already.
So the next person, Abraham, I know you share a lot about your daughter, and I like the way you call her mama. One of them or all of them, you call them mama, and I was like, and then I know your celebrity birthday. I watched another one where you took her to do her nails, and you were sharing. But just see you with a doll, and and with her. And I was just like,
oh no, not a white doll.
Not white, just a doll. Eugenia said, let's not get a black doll. But
everyone don't know better.
By the way, she got a
moment right now.
All the colors. She got all the colors, so she just chose that one to be outside. So But hey,
I've seen pictures of you. I know which one of them, but you've taken it to the park. You're playing on this thing on the beach. I mean, just so many pictures of you and your children,
Yeah, that's my other girl. That's my other girls. Like I said, man, these babies, man, you gotta be there for them. And we live in America. We live for these kids, So I try to be there for her. This girl right here, she's a sweetheart. This is the one that asks all the difficult questions, but I try to hang out with her as much as possible. This picture right, we're sitting outside. We just on the back pedal. We're just outside by the road, and she just wanted to hang out, and play out like we always do. Go to the park and then hang around, go to the water park and stuff like that. So that's one of the moments. I try to hang out with them, spend some quality time with her. All of the time, I try to do the video I have. I try to braid her hair. I try to braid her hair, but that one I'm trying to do land it on YouTube because she want me to braid her hair and do the stuff. But I know, so I'm trying to land that one on YouTube if I can start a photo. So
all right, thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So Leo doing popo. So Leo. This one was, we all know when we talk about popoing, how we used to call it growing up. It's more than us popoing. I wish I even knew how to pour my children my pack because my mom could pour her pack, but I didn't learn how to pour my children my pack. But what I saw there's another picture. I think you were trying to rock the baby to sleep. I know sometimes we put these things and we make light of it, we make fun of it, but just the moral to it, the story behind it, just so much. And I'm just like, this is our generation. Let me tell you a quick story why I got this up. And most people don't know. And maybe that's one of the reasons, some of the places I got my strength from. So I didn't grow up all my life with my dad. So I think I was with my dad and my mom up to 5th grade or 3rd grade, if I really remember. And then my dad came to the U.S. He got some scholarship those days, whatever 80s, whatever, got scholarship, came to America. And long story short, he stayed for his girlfriend that he had in the yard. While he was there, he got married to my mom. So there was that lost connection. So we never connected with him beyond that. It was all about a girlfriend. Ultimately, the girlfriend became wife. He didn't divorce my mom either, And so I didn't enjoy much of him beyond, that 3rd or 5th grade. So it was all my mom. There was no connection on those days. There was no cell phone. So when my mom called the house phone, that was this girlfriend that he served for, and she was giving him chick, a Liberian with chick, and she would bang for my mom's ears and blah, blah, blah. So later on, I went to stay with my aunt who sent me to Race Institute and, CDB and everything else. And then I found my own way through life and I became the woman that I am today. But the short end of the story is, didn't see, much of our parents or my father doing all of this. So when I see someone like Desmond talking about his daughter, on bench show or other show, I see Leo rocking a baby to sleep, putting a baby on the back. I see Abraham so many things with his daughter. Ben talking about money to send to his children. All of you guys, Emeric, always posting about his son, the activity, the in this city, this state, this thing, and all of that. It's personal to me, and it really melts my heart. And I say, Lord, I thank you for breaking that generational curse, because our fathers, some of us, our fathers, great grandfather was just a total mess. And our generation had dared not to be the same, whether mother or father, they were doing things differently. And so I thank you, Leo. But what can we learn from this picture, Leo?
No, this was one of those moments. That's the youngest one. She had this attitude. She wouldn't eat, but when I get home and put the food in the bowl and postponing it, she would come to eat with me. But this day she was just grumpy. I had come from work, and her mom was like really frustrated with her being grumpy. They had tried to feed her with everything they did. She wouldn't stop. So, and at some point, so as soon as I got in the house, as you would see, I basically took on my work clothes and didn't get to anything else. I just literally grabbed her in an instant. And by the moment I put her on my back, she went quiet. So her mom was like, wow, I'm going to take a picture of this moment and save it, because it's been 3 hours. I've been trying to handle this baby. She wouldn't stop. But I don't know what it was, but I just picked her up. It was instantaneous, to be honest with you. I didn't even, because I just came from work, entered the house, and I could tell already she was frustrated with her design. So
Is that fatherly instinct?
Yeah, so I just grabbed her, I put her on my back, and she went quiet. And 30 minutes later, she had fallen asleep. So I got her off, put her down. But I think, again, it's that natural instinct of someone like myself appreciating that just because my wife is the one who may have carried this baby for 9 months and most of the time happened to be the one supporting, doesn't mean we both don't have the responsibility to troubleshoot. And it's in little moments like these. It's not in the big moments, because in the big moments, we all show up. It's just those little ways, because sometimes there is something I bring, and the way my daughter may connect with me, she may not connect with her mother in that same way. And there may be times where she wants her father, and she needs to be able to be in that safety to know that her dad can step in, her mother can step in, or both are there and are exhibiting that ability to be able to work together. So it was not about me saying, and you could see my wife got happy right away when I pick her up and put her on my back. So she took her phone to take a picture. And her mood also changed from that mood of frustration to like
Right.
that cheeky, excited mood that finally your dad is here. Let him take his daughter. You guys can go on that side. You can knock yourself or whatever you guys want to actually do. And I think for me, I can count myself blessed and lucky to be in a fortunate position, because there are many other men, whether it's from the experience with their fathers or circumstances, that may not be able to actually do that. So I'm just thankful.
Thank you for doing this. So Emery's not here, but there was another post that he did, and I wish he was here. I know we talked about it a little bit on the phone, he and I, but when I saw this, I had two thoughts. First, I felt like, and this is something that but I guess I was just being selfish, and I said that, maybe I thought only us women can experience emptiness. Emery is going through emptiness syndrome, but then I tend to realize, I said, you know what? I'm so proud of Emery, because even though he's feeling this way, he didn't keep it within. He expressed it, that I miss my child, even as a man. Some people will hide it. They'll be like, man, I'm pretty macho man here, don't want to share it. But he was able to post it and say, I miss my child. What I'm fasting or good times or whatever it is, I miss my child. And I thought that was a memorable experience. Anybody want to add something to it, before I get to the others? Since Emery is not here to speak. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Desmond.
think it's since for Emeric. Well, go ahead.
No, I'm done. No, he's not here. So I say anybody can
I was saying that Emeric is a very, very intentional person, and I don't see, especially as it relates to his kids, Emeric wears his emotions on his sleeves in most things that Emeric does, and that's why. And whenever you see Emeric and I have a disagreement, that's exactly where it comes from. it comes from a place that Emeric and I totally believe what we're saying, and this the level of persuasion on either side. It's no room there, only because what we've been saying, we really passionately believe it. And that's how Emeric is. And when you see Emeric posting stuff like that, it won't be the last time that's something he really believes.
Yeah, I just want to say something quickly, Tavi, to that quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Emory, something very important about that. We grew up to be told that we cannot show our vulnerability, especially within an African home. Man, oh, you're a man, you cannot cry. Like, you have to hold it. You have to be, and I wouldn't lie to you, myself, I struggle with it sometimes. And also, there's that fear of what people might do with your vulnerability, to the point where people will start even accusing you now that you look funny because you show vulnerability. And I think what Emeric show is that strength to be aware that I am so strong in one area, but I can also be very vulnerable in another area, and it has nothing to do with being a man, being a woman, or being anybody else. So I think that's a very important lesson, and that's an age of maturity for a man raised in an African home to get to that place of being so comfortable in your skin and have such a high self-esteem that you can come out and talk about your vulnerability and yet still be the man that you are.
Right. Thank you. Anybody else?
That's true.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to add.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
No. Okay, no, I just wanted to say, so, as far as Emeric and Jaden, Jaden plays sports. So with that, it's a lot of traveling back and forth. If you're that parent that has to be taking the child to practices, to games, away at games, it's a lot. So when the child goes off to college, you don't have that anymore. I'm a sports mom myself, so I'm going to probably go through the same thing. You're going to miss them, of course, because they're your children. You're going to miss them. But then that extra time that you be spending with them, going to the games, traveling back and forth to practices, now you're not doing that anymore. So you have to find something to fill that void. So I felt him with that post.
Can I say something? I mean, Emeric is a wonderful guy, but I think there is something unique in this situation that I think that needs to be highlighted. Even though I don't live in Emeric home, I know his home is a well-functional home where you always see him in the picture. You don't see his wife. Tomorrow the child become a professional player. And then you see more people say, oh, the father will go to the father. We will not see the mother, not understanding the dynamic. And I am saying this to say, with regards to our ex-president, with regards to he and his son and his mother parenting, with regards to the ball who plays for the USA now, the mother was always the one taking him to all the games. Yeah, Tim, to all the games. So sometimes we don't understand these family dynamics because we're not in these homes, but we make judgment because of the parent that we see with the child every time, and not the woman who is home. Maybe she's home doing other stuff.
Our president and the woman not even living in the same country.
Okay, that one then it didn't make it really worse.
You stop bringing up things that you don't get bored in. They're not even living in the same country. What are you talking about?
Hey, come on, I'm here to give Emeric his praises and his family for what they're doing. I'm going to try to give.
Why you gotta
do that? Then do that.
Yeah, so leave the politicians out. So leave the politicians.
I know, these guys. But I'm only giving another dynamic that came out. People said, "Oh, he was not in the picture," but it was only the mother that was in the picture. Again, Emeric and his family are unique, and I think other people should understand these dynamics that family functions in different ways. Thank you.
Okay.
No, this guy is an undercover seditious. You always have to bring up seditious and we are business. That's what he does.
You don't hear what
It's so.
We has legacy.
So time is fast spent. We are planning to be here about 1 hour, 1 hour and a half to 2 hours. So we're gonna do one round of questions. Eugenia gonna ask her question, and then Minerva, and then open the line shortly for people to call in with questions, and we'll draw down the curtains.
Let me ask my question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So maybe we finish with some people touch on it, but what are your thoughts? All right, I'm a single parent, and the last time when we had a motherhood topic, we talked about that, raising our children with the American culture and comparing it to the Liberian culture. What are your thoughts on that? Raising your children, the Liberian culture, the American culture, what the difference, what the struggle, the challenges you see with that, especially us people that were born. Some of you may be younger that were born here and grew up in the Western culture. For those that were born in Liberia, grew up in the Liberian culture, and have to come here and then have their children to raise their children here. We just want to hear from you guys because a lot of people struggling with that. So I will start with Desmond.
Okay, so what I would say is this: diversity is a good thing. Don't leave your African or Liberian culture behind. Take the best part of it because we know there are negatives in our culture. Use them with the American cultures. There are negatives in the American culture. I remember my first day in America, my auntie told me, she said, "Don't you ever say the N word. That's not a good word." But in Africa, nigger N word is a very good thing to say, right? But you don't know the ramifications behind it until you get to American culture, right? And then, we go into parties, we tend to, societies, human beings like to be around people they like, right? But you don't do nothing, or you don't improve your lot, or you don't improve society until you be around people that you don't naturally click with, right? I think that's when society grows. That's my opinion on that. I think that's when society grows. So I remember having friends with, oh, don't be friend with that Akata ball, or a friend that American person, or the other person. Those small things like we have in our community. Oh, a friend that American person, I was just start selling drugs. Come on, you even know the bomb man. And all of a sudden, the man are drug dealer just because you're American, you know what I mean? Oh, he going with that American woman that should some point you on child support. You even know the woman nothing before all of a sudden the African woman get put on child support too. It worked either way, right? And by the way, I'm a number one proponent for child support. I believe in 100%. Every man should be on child support, by the way. I don't live with a parent. So that's my opinion. That's a different
Every
topic.
woman too. On child support too.
Every woman too.
That's not the question.
Some 10 years. The people are here.
Thank you. Every
That's
woman
not the
too should be on child support. Yeah.
Parenting, your children, parenting. Yeah.
I think you should. I think you should parent your child with the combination of both societies. I cannot be living in America or westernized nation and parenting my children that are living in Liberia, in Mizo, or in Chekota, or they living in Point Four, or they living in West Point, or they living in Mambastan. I can't do that because the fact of the matter is my child live right here with me in Minnesota, Rhode Island, Philadelphia, and this. However, what I can do is make sure when they come every day they can learn how to cook pamboda. They know how to cook. They know that they like from Liberia. When they walk in that house, they should smell a small fish or or mwemwe. They should know these things, right? Don't forget your culture, but incorporate your culture with the Western culture that you live. Because at the end of the day, you live where you live, and disassociating your child from the culture that they live in just to make them feel comfortable living in Africa that you don't even know if the child will ever go back to Liberia to live there. They disabuse them of the society that they live in. They'll become non-functioning citizens in an environment that they currently plan to reside. And it makes that growing up or that part, and then they start to grow up as an adult, which is a bit harder too. You don't want to be grown up while you're an adult already. So make them acclimated to the society they live in, but not forgetting the African culture. Like Leo did with his son when he was 2 years old.
Abraham?
I think.
Sorry, guys. Can you guys put a time limit on Desmond here? Like we ain't got all day to be sitting here just listening to you just go on all day. The hell, man.
So
Jeffy will take the time. Jeffy is the timekeeper.
You can be talking forever. You got 2 minutes to put time limit on somebody. So Desmond is right. But I think it's just not in the States, in Europe or whatever the case, what we find ourselves, right? But I think it's important to also, like Leo did, take your kids once in a while, take them back home, They didn't know the country called Liberia and firsthand experience, the ground and see what is it that they find themselves. Because, if they get to know and get to go and see what is there, and experience it for themselves, they could make an impact tomorrow. And when they come back, they tend to appreciate, what they have here and how they can blend the two, right? Or how they can be able to have the two incorporated and see how they can make the best out of it. So I think it's important, again, we are Africans, and we got our kids. It's all of the values, the African value, all of the different things we have, cocaine, doing mechanic, or, playing hopscotch, whatever, or, those things, jumping rope, all those different things that we do as African parents in the home and outside, we have to make sure that they get involved in the process, they get involved. And once in a while, take them back home, let them experience it, and see what the culture is like. Not just teaching them here, but let them go home and experience it for themselves and be able to know exactly some of the things that Liberia is going through and how they can be of help in the process. Like Leo's son did, went back home and try to put in place, try to help with some of wherever game and so forth. So I think it's important for us to be able to combine the two and give them the best shot of our culture. I think it's important.
Thank you. Mr. Leo?
Yeah. For me, the way I see it is we are raising our children in a North American culture, but I'm not raising my children with the North American culture. I cannot give my children what I don't have. I can only give my children what I have, and I can explore conversations with them against that, because we all have an identity and we all need to ensure that identity that we have, it is who we are. And that's why we give our children, knowing that they're going out into the world, using that as the grounding for them to explore North American culture, all of the things that they're actually learning. So the way I see it, as you can hear, like there's another woman in the background here trying to be in the show as well. But for me, I often say it, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a master of North American culture. There are many things in North American culture I fundamentally disagree with that other people think is okay. But I don't go to say I'm right or I'm wrong. For what I do with my children, I try to help them understand why I am who I am, what informs that, but not make it look like that's the end of the world, that there are more things out there that could align with them. But I always provide the importance of grounding, because what if you're wrong or right? If you're not grounded, you are often unstable. So you can get swayed by anything. So grounding for me is very important. And obviously, I'm aware that they are in a culture where they're learning new things, seeing new things. But sometimes you can get wrapped up in a bubble in North America and think the world is North America. So you need to understand North America as compared to what in the larger world that you're comparing it to, and why you may have a certain leaning or not a certain leaning. But what are you comparing your education to? Just because you're in North America does not have superiority over everything. So what is it that you're comparing it to?
Thank you, Leo. We'll ask SP.
Just keep me for now. I'll come back after. Go to someone else. I'm just in the middle.
Ben?
Yeah. Well, thank you. What was the question again?
Comparing. What are your thoughts in parenting with Liberian culture compared to American or Western culture?
So because I do not have kids here in America. Maybe they might be somewhere. Sometime they will contact me later. I don't know. But I don't have kids growing up here. But if stop laughing.
What is wrong with this guy?
Go ahead, Ben.
Take my glasses
Ben
off.
always go. Ben can always go.
Because you guys too serious. As fathers, you're too serious. Look, my parents. Look, I. If I had
that the cherry in the atom, you're serious.
This is for you. How do you handle parenting your child in Liberia while you are in the US? This is for you.
Yeah.
So for me, I deal with my child as if I were living in Liberia. That's what I do. So I give commands. I tell you, this is what you need to do this. I don't. He has probably like maybe 10% of an input of what needs to happen. I have all of the same. Everything, 100%. I'm the one who provide the money. I'm the father. I'm the Igbe. I'm everything. So I don't even give. I don't even pretend. Yeah, I don't even. No, I don't even pretend like this is a negotiation. No, I don't do that. I'm not negotiating anything. This. I never had to negotiate. My father would tell you, you go to the school, you doing this, you doing that, you doing this.
The guy who said we don't want serious, like you don't want to say we don't get command.
No, what? That's how it was.
Step and talk, please.
But look, I'm gonna give you commands. It's like I can be smiling, but I can be telling him this is what you're gonna do, bro. It's not negotiation, nothing. Okay, your room, setting your room, money this time, this, you getting this. No negotiation, bro. And my son knows that. And when he writes something and when he needs something, there are certain words I can say. He stops. He stops to reply. He won't say anything. I don't even have to say it. And that's how my father and that's how our negotiation. My dad used a starter. He couldn't talk. I can starter. So my dad would only look at you in his eyes. The case was over. Over. It was over. I do the same with my son, and my son understands me very well. Sometimes when I'm communicating with his mom, that's love. But the thing is that you see what people perceive as love here in America is different from what we perceive as love from growing up. My father really loved me. My father never hated me. My father wanted me to be the best person, and I'm going to do the same for my son. I'm not going to raise my son as a white man. Hell to the no. He's a Liberian, and he will grow
That's the
just like
difference,
that.
That's it. Diversity. That's the difference.
No, Minerva, don't encourage Ben. Don't encourage Ben ideology.
Diversity. All right, let's be sure we come to you now.
SB, are you saying that
Yeah, I can go.
Let's see Batman that takes obey his fire and became a
I can go. For me, I mean, everything in life, you got to have a balance. And as much as we love and respect our African heritage, because a lot of us are who we are today because of, our African upbringing, I think we have to understand that we live in a different society. And like Desmond said, diversity is a good thing. But I tell you what, you call my kids right now and ask them, just tell them, say, hey, I'm cooking pepper soup. What do you want? One of them will tell you they want cow skin. The other one will tell you they want chicken foot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they, when I used to drop them off to my parent, and at the age of 3 to 4 months, my mom was already giving them fufu and soup. Mm. And that's why you see they love their chicken foot and their cow skin. They love it. Even my younger ones, I can tell you right now, they eat food with pepper in it. And, that's part of our African heritage, our food and what we eat. Of course, there are certain principles that we want to instill in them. As a father of girls, how to carry yourself as a young woman, all of the things that our mothers, taught our sisters and whatnot. We try to instill these things into them. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand that we live in a society, and a lot of the kids that my kids are around are not Liberian, right? They're not African. So they're going to pick up different personality traits from, their association with those other children. And what my role as a father is, if you see something or witness something that you believe is not too healthy for them, then you try to have a conversation with them. So I try to allow them to be who they are, but at the same time, let them know where we're from. I'm glad that Leo was able to take his son. I plan on taking my girls, not this December, but next December, to Liberia, so they can see where Daddy was born and where I grew up, the neighborhood, and just understand, get to see a different aspect of life, right? So I try to have a balance. We talk about education. You know, when we were, I just had this conversation with someone the other day. When I was going to school, you guys know this. We had to know our timetables off the head. You know, we weren't allowed to use calculator. You need to know your timetables from one timetable to four timetable off your head. When you did math, you weren't allowed to use calculator. Yeah, it's different. So one of the things I do with my girls is, you know, I give them, you know, a weekly timetable. So every time I talk to them, I will ask them questions randomly when they're not expecting me to ask them, just to see, you know, where their thought process is and what they're thinking, or, you know, how they're paying attention to these type of things. So just try to instill those type of principles in them. Here, you go to, I mean, when I first came to Canada, we started going to school, and I realized that you can have an open book test and use calculator all you want. I was like, oh my God, these guys don't want us to study, because I wasn't used to that, right? When we were going to school in Cathedral, we used to come to class and you would have a random test. They didn't tell you, oh, you have a math test on November 3rd. So now you have 3 weeks to go and prepare. No, they should tell you go home and study, because anytime you walk in the class, you go have a random test. Here, they give you a whole deadline of everything. So, you know, I just try to teach the kids, you know, preparation and to be aware of the environment. You know, I tell you, sometimes I take the public trans to come to work, because the traffic here is so crazy at times. And you would take a 20-minute train ride, and you would look at people sitting on the train, and they will not lift up their head, not once. The whole time they'll be either looking at the tablet or the phone. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, you're on this train ride and you have no idea who's around you. You're not aware of your environment. So that's something I try to teach my kids, to always be aware of the environment, who's around them, where they are, what they're doing, what people are doing. You know, look at people's tendencies and stuff like that. So for me, it's just a balance. And, you know, parenting is an everyday, ongoing, you know, experience and learning. So unlike Benjamin, I'm not a dictator, even though I do admire the fact that Benjamin puts his post down, because sometimes if you don't do that, I think the kids see that as a weakness, and then they start to act, you know, to get out of line. But I just try to relate to them the best way I can, while I'm, you know, maintaining my African heritage and foundation. So that's pretty much it.
You
So,
spoke more minutes than Desmond did. You spoke more minutes than Desmond did.
As a single mother, I was doing both, being a mother and a father. And like I shared the last time, so I had like a father too. And when this question is like, so what do you do? This is what one of my son was born in Liberia, and he came, and my daughter was born here. So this is what I told them from day one when they started. When you enter my apartment, you enter my home, you're in Liberia. When you get out there, you're in America.
Yeah.
There are certain training we got from Liberia I like, and I'm going to install it in you guys. Like when you get out there, you're representing me. So you should know how you're behaving out there. Fortunately for me, both of my children look just like me. So when they get out there, people see they're like, oh, I mean, never child. And they're ready to come and I saw this person. You know, so everything people see here that is good, but the children, when the children want to grow up to be who they are, you can start everything in them. And when they want to go the other way, they will go. And somebody said something else when we're talking about your parent, I think your mom, I think it was Desmond that said when his brother died, you know, from drugs, and the mother friends wanted her to not talk about it, but she knew she did her best, and he wanted that the route he wanted to take. So why should you hide it? And so as a parent, when you know you finish doing everything, you know you did your best, and you get out there and want to go different route, you be like, that's it. And I have a lot of testimony we get to say, but I will leave it for now and pass it on to
Regina.
Regina, all right, yeah, Regina, the one.
Eugenia, you're next.
I don't know. Did Abraham answer that question? I don't know.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He used about 20 minutes.
SB, let me just tell you, not guest speaker, yeah, very relaxed.
Okay. I mean, I know this is an important question. My next question is an important question, but I know it may not apply to Leo and I think only Leo. I don't know about Abraham's situation, but I wanted to know how is it navigating multiple baby mothers?
Let me go on that first. Well, can I go on that first?
Yeah, you already said it. So go.
So, and that's an important question. So out of my 3 kids, I have two mothers, right? The oldest one, which is in Liberia. I remember when it's a difficult to answer question direct. It's a difficult. It's a very difficult thing, right? It's a difficult, and in my situation, because other situations are different, right? Everybody have a different experiences. But the other one, in Liberia, her mother, I remember when the issue came to me when we talked about it, and when I approached her, she didn't want to accept that, we have that the girl was my child. But when we found out, because no DNA in Liberia at the time anyway, I don't know what they have it right now. But fast forward, it became very difficult. It became very difficult for her and for me. So she didn't want to give me the child until, well, I didn't know that I had a child, because what she did was she took the child and gave it to the man that she was with. Because she did another person, and I got involved in the picture and all that. But fast forward, after I got to know about it, I approached her, and then she didn't want to give me the child. So we went back and forth. But then when I came to the States, well, when she knew I was coming to the States, that's when she said I should take the girl. So I'm like, okay, I've been behind you for this girl, and you didn't want to do it, and you kept dreaming back and forth. Now I'm going to the States, and you deny me of having a bond with my daughter. Well, I would take the responsibility. So when I came, I kind of, had a conversation with her. But then it became a situation where the other, my wife now, my ex, had a situation where she didn't want to see this girl. So it became a whole messy situation moving back and forth between the two of them. So then I had to say, you know what? Between the two of you, what is important is the future of this kid right here. I don't care what you got going on, how you feel about, how she feel about you. It's about this child right here. And I think it's important for me to take that responsibility to be able to do what I'm doing. Whatever you feel about it, it's up to you. We all 3 of us come together as grown folks and talk about it. But I think what is important is this child right here. And it went back and forth for her because she didn't want to send money to her. If I sent money, it became an issue, and back and forth. So all I needed to do was to stabilize the situation. Unfortunately, the other passed, right? And so I had to take full responsibility, of her, and then it became a situation where it was sorrowful at the same time, but then it became a relief at the same time, because at the end of the day, it just got better between the two of them, and it just didn't go anywhere. But at the end of the day, I had to take, when the mother passed, I had to kind of take responsibility of her and then moving forward. So it can be a messy situation. It can be so bad to the point where two women going at it and stuff like that. But the interest of the child is what counts most and what is important. And I was able to navigate that the best way I could, and at least she's doing well, and everything is okay. I'm hoping that she join us soon and stuff like that. Yeah. But it can be a messy situation.
That's good.
Abraham, let me ask you a follow-up to that. That's what. So you mentioned about another guy coming to the picture. Did you go through a legal process? Don't you think he's going to come back again when the child gets older?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that yes, like I said, it was a messy situation, right? She was the guy even passed before she passed.
Oh man, that's sad.
The guy passed before she passed. Yeah. So that just kind of sorry that it happened that way, but it's sad that it happened that way, but it just kind of lay everything to bed and stuff.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, that was all.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham. Thank you. Let me go back.
Hold on. I think Abraham's story and my story just mimic. So let me just go. All right, just 1
A
second.
little bit, yeah.
I don't share because it's connected to somebody, so I don't like to put her out there. But I will do it today. Abraham's
For
story
sure.
is just exactly my story of my daughter who was born 16 years ago this year. But my daughter's mom and I, we became estranged before I could come. We kind of made up a little bit, and I came to America. So one day the child for me, one day the child for Stephen Appiah, the Ghana professional player who used to be the Ghana captain years ago. So it was on off, and I'm just spending money, spending money, spending money, spending money. At some point in time, I get angry. I say, you know what? Enough of this BS. I'm done. I'm not sending no money. And at the same time, my son was he was under 21 years. My son was still young at the time. So I'm trying hard not to send for one of my child and leave the other person's child there. I want to make sure two of them come at the same time. And I don't want one girl to say, "Oh, why are you doing this?" So I'm just delaying my son. But this girl just can't send my daughter's birth certificate. Going all around. Finally, I decided, you know what? I'm done. Woman, I'm done, and I don't need this anymore. I can make enough babies that I wanted. When I decided that I was no more interested, it's when she decided to come back again and say, "Oh, the girls that I saw, they send me the birth certificate, nothing. All into this thing, this girl is dead. This girl died.
Oh man.
Yes. So the little girl is in Ghana now, growing up with the grandmother, who was also a part of this whole mess. Now the friends are calling me every now and then and say, "Oh, Ben will beg you, let's go and do the DNA. We know this is the daughter." I said, "You know what? I feel so hurt that this girl, because of her own stupidity, would not benefit. The only MoneyGram paper that I get, I have a whole suitcase of MoneyGram paper. Those times, I said I will keep these papers, so when this girl grow up tomorrow, I'll be able to show it to her so she gets up. So, because people have a way of just saying men don't take care of the children, so that but it is so hurtful that she's no more around because it's like I'll be making a case against her to her daughter when she's not there.
Right.
So I feel so bad that this thing had to be this way. And when she died, because even the grandmother myself was not in good day. When I heard what the death news, guess what? You don't want to know from the morning that I said the grandmother was so shocked. She said, "Ben, thank you." But it's not about the money. It's about the way sometimes how our own people treat us. Only because sometimes people think that we're stupid about children and they want to take advantage of you because you are in America. You can send money. When it comes to me and my children sending money, I'm like a drunk fox. When it says drunk, like even sometimes my friends look at me and say, "Bro, if you don't change the way how you send money to Africa, it's going to hurt you." But I just thought Abraham, story by story was just so aligned, and I decided to just share this.
Wait, Ben, I have a question for you.
Me too,
Can
but
I
go
ask
ahead.
you one quick question? Do
Please.
you feel bad for not sending for your son that you knew was already your child and waiting for the other child, and then this situation happened like this?
I
He could have
do.
been here.
I do now. Now I do. But hindsight 2020, it was just not the right thing to do. Not send it for one person and leave the other person behind. I just thought, I mean, that was just my. But I wish I had just sent for my son after I was going through all these things. Now he's more than 21
Yeah.
years. It's going to take a longer time to get him over. Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he'll still come. So I think you shouldn't neg the process. Just do it
Oh,
if you
so
have. If you can.
let me just add it. So I filed stupid man went fighting for both kids on the paper. Oh, and guess what? When the interview comes, the other kids not there, information's just all over the place. So no, they just have to just cancel the flight and say you have to restart over. So I had to
So how
start
old
the
is the
whole.
daughter? That is my question.
Oh, she is.
16.
I mean, I'm 16 years in America now, so she'll be 16 years now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you for sharing, Ben. Sorry,
Yep.
Eugenia, I know that your turn. I just want to do a
Thank you.
follow-up. Go ahead.
No.
So
Desmond?
let me answer. Yeah, let me answer this question. Right. For me, I would say it was quite easy. Very, very easy because I was a very spry 20-year-old, um, 20-year-old, 2021, 140 pounds. Think the world is my oyster. Do what the hell I want. If you met everybody been there, so nobody can judge me here. So
Right.
except Eugenia. Eugenia never
Yeah, I was
outside.
gonna
We were outside. We said Eugenia always been inside. We've been outside. So when I say it was easy, I'll tell you how fun I was having two kids, right? So I used to live with my parents and I moved to another state. I moved to Virginia. Moved to Virginia to go to school. My parents dropped me to school. I just go to girlfriend. I go to my girlfriend. My girlfriend gets pregnant. I call my mom and I tell my mom, I said, oh yeah, my girlfriend pregnant. My mom like, I've been meaning to call you all week because some other girl, they can't tell me just you're pregnant the whole week. But I've been with you. So I'm
Jesus.
like, you didn't call me from Monday? She said, yeah, but I'm a baby that way, baby. So what the point of me rushing? So I'm telling my mom that she's having a great child. She's telling me, yeah, I'm having another one too. So I'm really not rushing, not pressed. So yeah, that's how my daughters are 6 months apart because when my girlfriend found out she was pregnant, one's already pregnant for about 3 months. So that's how they are. And I got a picture. It's an old picture where I got both babies in my arm. One is 6 months and one is like just a baby, like a month old. I think it's a very cute picture. So the way you deal with it, let me just give you the code. Don't talk to one forever. Yeah, like cut a speech with her.
What?
Like don't even tell her hello. Don't speak to her again. I'm telling her it worked for me. That's why I say it's so easy. Like I just don't talk to the other
So
one.
they have to get to the
I just
children
don't.
now, to the daughter.
Oh no. You see, that's a math. That's a math. For
Send
me,
us
it
the
worked for me.
You live,
The
oh.
math.
Remember you live.
But I'm thinking you, I don't talk to what you not find me, so I'm worried about it. So the way I did it, you see that was for Ben. Ben was still talking to him. What I was giving baby to him, or giving baby to Steven, giving baby to him. If you're not talking to one, you're gonna sit for a long time. But you won't be talking to give you baby to take it by the like me won't give baby to take it by. You take it by for you. The first time you take it by for you. But you see Abraham problem. I can tell you what Abraham did. Abraham show a picture of Abraham's daughter just now, right? Abraham nose can hide. All Abraham children get a nose. So when Abraham saw the baby, he knew the nose that the baby. Abraham couldn't go back and say nothing. He needed no DNA test. If he needed no DNA test. But you know I lie. If you know I lie. Abraham know I lie. So this is how you do it, Telvin. This is how you do it for real. I'm not on a serious note. How we did it was, fortunately for me, my mom was there for me and my daughter needed it. My daughter went to my mom at a very young age. Till this day, she's 21. She just moved back. And my stepdad is her dad, per se. Like she would talk to him about something before she called me, but that's that relationship. So I've always talked to my daughter. But for me, where it worked, the easier way to do it, especially as close as I have my kids, was don't talk to one ever. If she calling for something, it's like if it was something I call, it had to go through. Like and fortunately for me, I'm married to a different woman now. So my two children, mom, are not the woman. I'm not married to neither of them, right?
Oh, okay.
But I'm not married to neither of them. I'm married to a different person, and it works. It works. And my two kids' mom, the reason why we still communicate today, it's it's a very touchy thing. And I find that to be a problem for most relationships I think I'll ever be in. I've known this girl since she was 13, I was 15. So there's a natural friendship there. We were friends before we even had kids, right? So that natural friendship, it's a person. It's something that comfortable, and sometimes it's not good to be in your comfort zone because I've seen that being a problem. I've seen it being a problem in my marriage. I've seen it being a problem, but now I'm saying it live. But I don't think I've ever communicated that with my wife. But I've seen it where it can be like, oh yeah, like for example, I'll do my children mom taxes. I was telling Eugenia in the back the other day, my children mom mistakenly sent me these text messages, and it's like, okay, she sent me a text message off a new car. Like, nigga, okay. She's mistakenly sent me a text message off a bank account. I know you're rich. I happy for you, sis. Let me enjoy my poor self. You know, these things happen, right? But it's always a mistake. It's always a mistake. But the fact of the matter here is like it's not ideal. If I could, people can say if I had to do it again, I would do this, and that's a damn lie. If I could do it again, I wouldn't do the same thing. And it's not mutually exclusive. I'm not saying that I hate my children. I'm saying if I, Desmond Findley, could play the game again from scratch, knowing what I know today, I wouldn't do it the same way.
Agree.
Because it's not fun.
Yep.
It's not fun.
Right.
It's not fun. It's not easy. It's not, especially when you're an empath, right? When you care about things. Like somebody was talking to you asked somebody. The last comment was about talking about expressing emotions. I've gotten a job because I cry in an interview. I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to say sorry. I'm very in touch and aware of my emotions, right? And because I remember my dad took me to hunt. My stepdad had guns. He took me to hunt in Liberia to kill guinea fowl. Let me people go hunt. He told me to hunt. I'm sitting in the car. He said, "Get on." I ain't getting on. I sat in that car the whole time. Bro, my said, "Just like your mom." I said, "Thank you." Right? There's nothing wrong with a man. You are a mixture of estrogen and testosterone. If you express your estrogen, it make you no less of a man. And I think people respond to that or react to that because they feel they want people to not judge them. You think if you walk around with your chest in the air every time and say, "Oh, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man," when I meet somebody look at you funny. So I'm very in tune with my emotions, and we're speaking with as it relates to two kids with two mothers. When you know that you're doing something here and you feel that you're doing something here that this other person could have gotten, right? That's a regret that you carry forever. That's a regret that you carry forever. So it's just hard.
So,
yeah.
And Tevin, let me just, I think let me just add to what Desmond just said. And a lot of time people think that men don't have emotions, right? We go through a lot as well. And I think I just kind of picked with Tevin a couple of days ago. For the past since 2022 to now, 2022 to 2023 and so forth. It was a really, really tough road for me because with my ex and I, when I was separate ways, and with my little daughter, and with my girls, because what I did was I actually wanted because of the kids, I wanted us to just work it out and work it out and find a way forward. So I went to my the older one to and I wrote her. I said, "Hey, talk to your mom, and talk to your mom so we can get this thing work out and stuff like that, right?" And she's very smart, and she talked to her mom, wherever her mom said, it didn't work out, and within that period of time, I went through some serious depression because I just could not, understand what was unfolding. And there is this saying that said, Liberian men cheat, Liberian men are cheater, Liberian men are cheater. And I told Terry, I say, it's not all Liberian men that are cheaters. Some of us out here, we genuinely have feelings for our spouses, or people will feel that we can be together, and then all of a sudden, they disappoint you and so forth. Like in my case, when my wife, ex, when she came over here, I told her, "Hey, don't pay any bills. I'll take care of the bills. You just work. If you want to work, that's fine. If you want to, that's fine. Don't pay. I'll take care of the bill, right?" That's just. I mean, looking back at it, that was the dumbest thing I ever did, right? But I was just trying to demonstrate to her, "Hey, I know you got a skill. You're a cosmetologist. I know you work at you work, you make money and stuff like that. But it's while I was raised, told, you as a man, it's a responsibility to take care of the home and do all the different things, right? But doing it, sometimes people see that as being stupid, and then they take advantage of it. Most some women. So as a result of that, it had so serious impact on my kids, on my girls, because they were put in a situation where I was going through depression, and I stayed in a hotel for 4 months, almost 4 months. Spent thousands of dollars in a hotel for 4 months. Imagine that for a second. And my girl and this woman who just came, and my daughter had to move. And the woman had to send my daughter in the hotel. I didn't want her to come in the hotel with me, but I had to book a suite in the hotel just for her to be in the hotel with me, and stuff like that. And I went through serious depression. Serious depression I went through, and I thank God that I came through it. And God was able to take me through that. But I'm just saying, sometimes, man, and I stay in my hotel, and I look up the ceiling. That sometimes I want to just do some stuff to myself. So now I cry, look in the ceiling, just and cry, bitter tears and stuff like that. It's because sometimes some of us as men, you see some of these things happen to you first. You see on the television, but then you press him like, what is this thing happening to me and stuff like that? And then your kids are right in the middle of it. And the women who you trust so much, they say, hey, they will never happen to me. And they are the people who do the worst to you. So, these things, like he said, like Desmond said, these things happen, but we as men, we also have emotions. We are human beings as well. I just want to just add to what he just said.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Black men don't cheat. Black men don't cheat.
No,
Only
but
black
thank you,
boys cheat.
Ibrahim, for sharing your story. Leo said, others, even Desmond alluded, we always think somebody we getting a call here. Just hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Let me finish my thought. But especially from the culture, we think that men supposed to hide their emotions, and they're not supposed to. It's a sign of weakness for them to say, "Oh, I'm hurting from a broken relationship or from a disappointment," all kind of things. And you carry so much because what people are thinking about me. And then we got social media there to make us to think that, oh, I can't show this because social media, everybody know me to be online and all of that. So I thank you so much for sharing your story, and hopefully, you've healed through this process totally. And if you ever need to talk, obviously, I'm there. And all of us are here to support each other. If you've been there, some of us been there 10 times, been there, that bruised, step on, battered. It's only by the grace of God that we're going or shaking, and we're still going. So we can relate. So thank you for
let me
sharing.
respond. Let me respond.
Hold on.
We gotta call here. Y'all hold on.
We got a call.
We gotta call. Everybody hold a talk for a minute. We gotta call here. Call out your live, your name, and your question or comment.
Hey, this is Anaya Queen. I had a beautiful Queen. Guys, I'm so sorry I couldn't be on. I have a vacation tomorrow, so I've been working my Hebrew slave. I want to take this time to appreciate all the guys on here. I know I've learned a lot about you guys. Just seeing you guys on Facebook, and we just calling you brothers and saying stuff to you guys all the time. But I have learned a lot this evening from all of you, especially my brother Leo. I heard his voice was cracking for the first time. You making me emotional, but Leo, I know I got to know something. I've been knowing you for years, and I didn't know so of you. And we needed you to bring your, what, to the whole show. So thank you for taking the show all the way to the left. And thank you, lady, Eugenia, was my name. And Telvin, thank you for this platform. I appreciate you we just need to have this kind of conversation. It's well needed in our community. So I appreciate you bringing this idea, and we get to support you whenever I'm available. And it shouldn't be the first or the last time we're having you guys on here. So I hope you guys will always have your doors open when we call on you guys to always come. And we need your voices in the community for the young guys, young boys, and young girls in our community. And my question I asked earlier was, which one of you guys have your nails painted by your girls? The one that have girls. Which one of you have your nails painted by your girls? Because I had my co-workers who come to work with my red nails and say my daughter painted my nail yesterday. So which one of you guys have?
My nails ain't getting painted.
Oh, that's me. That
was Ibrahim.
That's me.
You guys, great show, ladies, and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, I can respond to that question.
Yeah, you can respond. You can respond to Abraham or whatever I said because I know
No,
some people have.
I haven't answered. I haven't answered the question yet.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Or do you
The
have the
question,
answer?
It
the
was
question
Eugenia
that
that
she
asked the
asked.
question.
Oh,
Eugenia asked the
Eugenia's
question.
question.
Yeah, I haven't answered that question yet.
Oh, you haven't. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Do you remember the question?
Multiple children, multiple baby mothers.
What was the question, Eugenia? What was the question?
The question was, how do you navigate multiple baby mothers?
Well, Eugenia, didn't I answer this question to you before?
No, you and I never had this kind of conversation.
Okay, all right.
But
So here's the thing.
But you don't have one. You don't have one.
Hey, that man
gosh.
told
No, he
me.
does.
So here's the thing, right? I agree with you, Desmond, when you said if you were to go back all over again and do it, would you do the same? And you said no. I agree with you because it's difficult, right? It's difficult because, you know, when you have, first of all, men, the things that we go through, we don't amplify enough. I call Doedeh all the time, and we would talk behind the scene.
Yep.
But those things that we talk about, you would never hear us talk about it on Facebook. If I call Leo all the time, or Leo and I, we get together, we talk about stuff. Once that conversation is done, that's it. It stays right there, right? We don't amplify our struggles enough. We don't amplify, our weaknesses enough. We don't amplify the things that present great challenges to us enough. So sometimes when people hear certain things about you, they generate their own perception. Oh yeah, you like this, you like this. Even if you try to give some rationality as to, why certain things went the way it went, people's minds are already made up. So they think they know you, they think they know your struggle. And for us men, when it comes to women, especially in relation to this question about having multiple baby mom, if you were to give an explanation, let's say the few times I've tried to give an explanation, it's always been like, oh no, you were up to no good, you were just being this, you were just being that. And don't get me wrong, it's not about justifying the act. It's about the struggle. And I speak for myself on this one. The struggle or the challenge or the mindset that you had at the time. When you, like, I'll be honest with you, after my divorce, I was a mess. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was a complete mess. People who were close to me, I've had deep conversations with them. They know I was a complete mess. I was depressed. I was angry. And I was looking for somewhere to channel my anger. I'll be honest with you, I had to go for counseling for 8 months. Most people don't know this. I had to go seek counseling because I had so much resentment in my heart towards women. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go out there and be a dog. I'll be very honest with you guys. And in the process of being a dog and being irresponsible, I had a couple of kids. And now I had to sit down and say to myself, oh my God, what have you done? This is not how you plan your life. Never plan my life like this. I got married at the age of 30. My mom and dad were married for 53 years before my dad passed away. So, I've always been in a home that had great structure. So for me to see myself, having kids here and there, it was not something that was planned. But I had to dig deep and say, okay, now that you're here, what you're going to do about it? You're going to show to these kids what you're made of and all of the things that you learned growing up as a young man. You're going to be a better person from this. You're going to be responsible and you're going to take care of these kids. So it was difficult because at one point I couldn't, talk to one of my kids because I had to make a decision. And the decision I had to make was, who are you going to be with? And when you make that decision, people's feelings are going to get hurt. People are going to resent you. And at one point I wasn't able to, I'm not going to say which one of my kids, but I wasn't able to see one of my kids. And I had to deal with that. But what got me through that was a lot of prayers and seeking forgiveness and my willingness to persevere. And most guys, or some guys, when they're faced with adversity, especially when dealing with kids and baby mother, they'll be like, okay, well, you know what? She don't want me to see the kids. I'm not going to do nothing. I'll wait. When the time comes, no. In that process, I was still providing Pampers. I was still providing weekly allowance. I was still providing food. I was still providing milk. I used to take the stuff to the house, knock on the door to let them know I'm there, and I would just leave it and go. When I'm out of the country, I would send boxes of all of the things that was needed. So being a father never stopped. It was building that relationship with the child's mother that was the obstacle. And I'll be honest with you, women, they have this certain aura to them where when they want you to know they're in charge, they will stop at no means to let you know they're in charge. So there are times where when I'm doing one thing for the other kid, they're watching. You know, see, they're watching, and this is. And I'll give you an example. I'm not gonna say who, but recently, one of the kids' birthday came, and I'm there. Of course, I'm being father. I'm taking pictures. I'm doing other thing, and the other one is just sitting there watching. She's watching. So I said, you know what? I have a certain amount of money. If I use some of this money to fly, maybe I can say. And it didn't matter what amount this was. That mother said to me, "Oh, I'm just watching you. You better not be here for this birthday. You will see something." So you know what I had to do? Let me tell you what I had to do. But at the end of the day, when you find yourself in this position, you have to take all of the grain of salt, and you got to say, you know what? Being a father is the number one priority. So because it was the last minute of the time flight, and flying out of Canada can be expensive. Leo knows this. I had to drive. I couldn't even find a better flight from Buffalo. Normally I would drive to Buffalo, which is an hour and a half from Toronto. I had to drive 3 hours to Detroit to catch a last minute flight, left my car at the airport because I had to be there. So yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's challenging, but you know what? It is something that I refuse to fail at. And people can look at me, you can call me whatever you want. I tell people this all the time. You can call me every name you want to call me in the world. The one thing I refuse is a deadbeat father. And I don't care if I have to spend all of my earnings, if I have to go out, go sleepless night, if I have to finish a 12-hour shift and be at a recital the next day. If that's what I got to do to be there for the kid, I'm going to be there. So, I mean, if I were to go back to do it all over again, I probably would have been more responsible, and I probably would have channeled my anger in a much better direction. But at the end of the day, I was just being Desmond. I was being reckless. I was being a playboy, and call it whatever you want to call it. But we're here now. So we're here now. We take it our responsibility. We keep our head up high, and we move on.
Mr. Short Talker, thank you very much.
I know, yeah, Short Talker.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here.
I'm coming. Just 1 second. At
Go
some
ahead,
point in time.
Go ahead, and Desmond got a hand too. So okay.
Look at it.
At some point in time.
Leo hasn't said anything yet.
Well, you just told me no.
No, this question, no. This question not apply to Leo.
Ask me how jogging the floor. Ask me how jogging the floor. That's why we're not talking.
So at some point in time, I was about to phone Dr. Francis because listen to.
We listen to what?
Listen to Abraham, Daddy.
Y'all know I don't lie.
And because of your people that been here, I want to get what express the emotion. You see how they make it light on her friend's story.
Oh, but wait a minute.
Let me finish.
Something Leo said. So what did you say?
What you said, Leo?
I say y'all know I don't lie. Now the time you want me to talk about multiple baby mama and so my wife can hear it.
Exactly.
No, that's why I said, Leo, this doesn't apply to you. I said that in the beginning.
I say Eugenia is my partner. She knows exactly how to position me. So
exactly. But I just want to say, can I just say one thing quickly?
Can I just want to say one thing quickly.
Oh, go ahead, Benjamin. Sorry, Benjamin.
I'll try to call that Francis for you and Abraham Doedeh at some point in time. I think we get it. The next show we will have to have.
That's your business. That's your business. Go ahead. Anyways, this is what I want to say. But no, this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say. Let me say this quick, Doedeh. Let me say this quick. And I'm glad Benjamin. I know Benjamin is just joking, but I'm glad he made that joke. And this is one of the reasons why you see a lot of men, especially the Liberian men in our community, don't come up much to speak about these things, right? Because people tend to shame them on them. And I put my hand up. I'll tell you this. Look at my face and look at my face very carefully. If that's the only skeleton in my closet, that SB has multiple baby mama, and you want to shame me, go ahead. I will even buy the airplane and the kite for you to fly around the city and take a banner and say SB, because I'm not ashamed of it. You know why I'm not ashamed of it? Because if you were to speak to any of these women, any of them, and I'm not saying this out of cockiness or anything, they will tell you that day and night I would do anything for my kids. And I'll say this, I'm not on child support for any of my children. You know why? Because when winter time is coming, I don't even want to tell me that my daughters need a jacket or winter boots. I don't even want to tell me that my son needs milk or my daughter needs. No one tells me that. I'm very proactive when it comes to providing for them. And you know what? I can't be there all the time.
Talk that stuff, SB. Talk that stuff.
No. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. And the reason I'm saying is because I want men in our community, Liberian men, if you are a good father, and yes, along the way you weren't your best self and you made some irrational decisions, but you're doing what you can to correct your wrongs, don't be ashamed of it. Don't let people in the community think they can shame you, because that's what we do in our community. We try to take people down for in our our less attractive parts of our life and try to shame people on it. Don't be ashamed of it. Keep your head up high and just be the best person you can
Keep
be. Be the
your
best father you
head
can
up
be.
high.
Yep,
And that's
yep,
it.
yep. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Those that,
Please don't steal
those
my
that
show.
need to be on child
Wait.
support, nothing wrong with that.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Eugenia.
Kelsey.
No, please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
No, I was
please
just
go
saying
ahead.
about the child support thing. It's good for SB that he's not on child support because he's able to do what he needs to do. But I think being on child support takes a lot of the burden away. And even if you're on like a legal child support right through the court system, there's times that you're going to give money anyway outside of that. But I'm a big component for a legal documentation so people can be accountable. Because now when you're mad at me, you decide, oh, you're not going to send something this month. No, we're not doing none of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes the child support people use it as a weapon.
But
You know,
I just want to say most.
I know we
it's
get
a good thing to have structure, but sometimes if I can work it out of the courts, it's just okay. Some people use that weapon. Like I can tell my story because when people hear child support, they only think about even the women. I mean, only men. I paid child support to my ex-husband for a long time, for a very long time, and it was used as a weapon. That's all it is, which is a weapon. That's all, nothing more than that. Because even beyond the child support, I was still, when I was in school, I was still sending support to my children, winter season, this season, other winter, whatever. I was still constant. It wasn't for a few years because it was just one of those things I said, I want to go to full-time nursing school. Can you hold the children for a few years? And that was the opportunity for him to weaponize me, But this is not a show for that. But some people use that as a weapon, both men and women, they use it.
I know this. I think this was in one of our questions. Like people, most of the Liberian men. I won't say most, all Liberian men, but most of the Liberian men, when they get on child support, then they think that I'm not supposed to be part of the child life again. Because they're paying the money, and so they just leave it with the mother, and that's so sad. Because even if you're on child support, your children or your child still need you. You can still be a father in that child life. Or most of them you hear them saying, "Oh, I've been in child support. She took me for child support, or she did this." I don't care when the child get older, the child will see me. I think they're why they're making the mistake and they're losing a lot. So,
You're absolutely right, and I can tell you right now, I can tell you right now exactly where all my kids are and what they're doing right now, even though I'm at work.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, gotta move on. Who
Go ahead. I don't want to abuse your time, and we're the show is so juicy that we're hitting almost 3-hour mark. So I want to draw down the curtain.
I know.
So I want to put out this question, but I wanted you to put it in your closing. So what advice do we give to new, existing, or expecting fathers, and then make that part of your closing?
Can I go first so I can get out of here because I gotta go. If you don't mind. Yeah. Sorry, what was the first part of the question?
What advice would you give to a new, existing, or expecting dad, or message to even women? I know you are very big of these younger women cussing each other on Facebook, abusing each other. What advice you gave? But then, I saw the last post that you did and said, y'all here cussing each other, then y'all wonder how we treat you the way we treat you.
That's true. Hey, that's true.
Please,
I mean,
incorporate all of that because of time, I couldn't bring that up, but I really want you to speak to all of that in your wrap up.
The reason why I will start with the post. The reason why I made that post is because us Liberian men, for the most part, we get it. The end of the stick when it comes to how our Liberian women are treated. A lot of time you go on these podcasts or on these shows, you see comments, "Oh, Liberian men are this, Liberian men are that." They will castigate us to the grave, which is fine because sometimes we're not our best self. But then you wake up early in the morning and the first thing you see, they're calling each other out their private parts on social media. So it's acceptable then, but when a guy or Liberian guy step out of line, then let's crucify them because they're the worst human beings on the planet. And I was just trying to make that contrast on what the expectations are as far as how some of our women carry themselves in the community. But as far as giving advice to up and coming new fathers, I'll say this to them. There's no formula as to the type of father you're going to be. Everyone's situation is different. The most important thing is just be proactive, and that's my key. My key as a father is to be proactive, right? Even when you're not at your very best, try to be proactive. Try to always be there for your kid. Anticipate what is needed. Show up even when you're tired and you want to get that sleep. Try to be there, because like our big sister said, it's not so much about the financial support, but just being your presence, asking them how they're feeling, how they're doing. For my girls, I call them and I talk to them all the time, and I ask them, how they're doing. Is there anything you want to talk to daddy about? I'm always here. You can talk to me and stuff like that. Um, as far as the financial part of it, you got to do what you have to do. We live in a very expensive world now. Everything is expensive, so there's no time to make excuses. For me, one income of mine can take care of me, and I'm happy. But I work two jobs, and the reason why I work two jobs is because I brought kids into this world that needs to be taken care of financially. So I have to be able to provide for them financially. They need after school activity. They got to be in dance. They got to be in gymnastic. They got to be in swimming. They need sneakers. They need clothes. They need pampers. You know what I mean? So I have to take care of that. Do my part as well. So you have to be determined. You have to be courageous, even when things are not going your way. Say a prayer to God, ask for strength, get up the next day, and try to be better than you were the day before. Other than that, live life, enjoy, keep a smile on your face. Don't mind Eugenia and Sanoya Queen. They're on my case 24/7, all day long. You know what I mean? But I don't pay attention to them. I just go about handling my business. I want to say thanks for having me on the show. To all my brothers, Desmond, Doedeh, Benjamin, Leo. I love you guys. You guys are, believe it or not, you guys inspire me in different ways all of the time. And I appreciate you guys for everything you do. Doedeh, before I leave, you came on earlier. You said you were single. I just want to make sure, because I'm making documentation.
You got making connections.
No,
I said I'm single. I didn't have it. I'm in a private chat.
I'm not accused. Tell me. Just so I can go quick. I'm not accusing him of anything, but that's my brother. We talk a lot. Ain't you say you single?
Yeah,
just know that I made documentation.
Yes, sir, I put in the private chat.
But to my big sis here, I didn't get your name. Sorry, what was your name again?
Minerva.
Okay, it's nice meeting you. I hope to interact with you more. I have to go, guys. I'm at work, and thanks for having me on the show. And I'll be back. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, and thanks to everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Bye, SB.
Stop. Anybody can go next.
Let me go.
That's why you want to go with the time difference.
Yeah.
I think the time different. That's my go because I think.
I'm a bit tired. I need to sleep for work. Just take a nap before I go to work. First thing, I want to thank you for having the show. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Mad respect to SB, Ben, Doedeh, Minerva, Eugenia, and Telvi. All you guys are very, very supportive. The first advice I would give a young person, young man is coming up, don't do what I did. That shit was stupid. Don't do it.
Don't copy the code.
No. Bro, I didn't make it work. I finessed the system. Not everybody will make it like me. Don't do it. I hold your foot. Don't do it. I'm not joking. I can't stress that enough. Don't do it. Don't do what I did. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I may look like I got away with it, but you don't know the amount of the support system I have. For example, my daughter lived with my mom until she was 14 years old. She went back when she turned 18. You know what I mean? That's support. That's nothing that I did. You know what I mean? My daughter mom, I tell Eugenia this all the time. My daughter mom in nursing school. She didn't have a job. I was in the army. I paid her rent. I wasn't on child support. I paid her rent, gave her some money every month. And I had a girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend didn't understand it. I was getting deployed one time. Living with my girlfriend, I gave my car to my daughter mom. She didn't have a car. Right? When my daughter mom finished her nursing school, she got on her feet. Guess what happened to me? And Desmond never had child support order. You know what I mean? But it wasn't nothing. I wasn't doing it to say when she get it, this will happen. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, what I did, it's not the way to do it. Don't follow it. But that's my biggest advice to the young people after me. You know what I mean? Find a person. Be intentful about what you want. If you're a young person, some people want to start a family early. You want to start a family, start a family. What I always say to people is there's a distinction between a male and female relationship in our African community that needs to be clearly stressed out, right? And I'm only advocate. I'm not only advocating because I have daughters. I think there's it's an imbalance in the relationships from a society standpoint, what a girl is supposed to do and what a guy is supposed to do, and what's expected from a girl, what's expected from a guy, and how society will look at you or not. Let's have these discussions. Let's go around it. Let's see how we can better our children. So if you come in, if you're a young person wants to start a family, start a family. If you're an old person, you just want a child, just want a child. If you're like me, when you turn 50, you want to have another baby, do that. Some people on the phone don't agree with me with that, but that's what I want. I want what I want. So, but at the end of the day, on a serious note, just don't do what I did if you can avoid it. But if it happens, that it happens. Respect your children. People say respect is earned, but usually when people tell you say respect is earned, it's not giving. They mean that you must give them respect first. You know what I mean? When people telling you, especially in our community, when they're telling you, saying, I want to take my mom for, she didn't raise me with that. My mom always said, don't respect somebody just because they're older. Just because they're born at a certain time. What magically made them born at a time to just get respect, right? Don't disrespect them either. But you don't owe them no respect.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Ghana. This lady I was with, before I would come out of the States, slapped me. She slapped me once. I'm 15. She slapped me once. She slapped me twice. I said, the first time she slapped my sister, Bayo, don't slap me. Second time she slapped me, I said, Bayo, do not slap me. The third time she slapped me, I slapped her back. She called my mom. My mom asked her, but why are you slapping the people? That woman that brought out your child for you to be slapping me? So instead, she just thought my mom was going to take her side. Right? She said, I told you not to slap you. Sorry for what he did. But don't put your hand on people's children. You don't know them. I call you sister, I call you Bayo, and then you still feel because you're older, you just get respect. Let's stop that. Let's start respecting our children, right? And respecting their children don't mean to follow their hand and foot. Understand what respect is. I find it in relationship to a woman. Most people in relationship will respect their boss. I won't say women. Respect their bosses in their office before they respect their husband or wives at home.
Yes,
A
Daddy.
little 22-year-old, a little 22-year-old girl.
Yes, Daddy.
So it's so true, Daddy. The high school.
So true,
So
Daddy.
true, Daddy.
Go deeper,
Not
Daddy.
yet.
I definitely sure that.
That was Daddy said he coming for y'all. And Daddy was on Facebook. He said he's sending it.
I've known that one before.
I'm almost finished. A 22-year-old girl will be to the office, give me orders, and I can follow her around. But when I come to my house, my spouse tell me, say, can you play move it? Will you play move the t-shirt? Play watch the t-shirt. And I said, don't talk to me that I had a man in the house. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You can take it from a 22-year-old to work because you're your boss. Like Ben and go into surgery to be working on people, then I transfer stuff for you. It's time for their kissing of me. I'm just saying, we just talking, you know, that just so true.
So Daddy, let me see about Daddy. Thank you. Let me see about look.
Wait, Ben, you know what Leo the girl says?
Leo is driving. Let Leo go. Leo's driving.
Go ahead, Daddy. Go ahead, Daddy.
I want to answer to that.
Yes, Daddy. No answer.
I just have, I think an important advice I would give to anyone is that do your best as a father, new father, or whatever, to have your partner convicted that you care about the kids. Because I think sometimes we often forget how much nurturing women have to do with the children from the point of conception up to the point where these children are born. And I think most of the time it becomes their foremost priority, not just because they don't have the help from their partner, but just because of the nature of how things are. women carry a lot of the weight. And I think helping your partner to know or to see and experience that you care about the children goes a long way for their mental health as well. But it also strengthens them to be able to support in the times where you as a man sometimes may not be able or in the position to do what you have to actually do, because they are convinced, they know how much you care about the kids, that if you're able to do it, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's financial, it doesn't matter. But many times as fathers, we don't tend to do that. So even when we are going through our struggles or whatever that is, there's really no way for the women sometimes to know that it is genuinely because we're going through our struggles. It starts to seem to be our normal attitude of not caring. So as a new father, I would say when I look back on it, if there's anything I would do and do better, would be to really work hard to make sure your partner sees that you will do whatever it takes to ensure that you can support, that you can work collaboratively to try and get the kids to where they need to be. It's a strengthening mechanism for both of you. You both try to strengthen each other, because raising children is not easy. Even when you have the best of children in every way, raising children is not easy, and it will humble you in many different ways. It will rock your mental health in many different ways. And if you cannot convince each other with your partner that you both really care, or your partner is not convinced that as a father, you really care about how having children would change the lives of everybody, it can really get difficult.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Leo.
Then you
All
can
right.
go now.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah,
Contribution.
I think Desmond stole my first thing I wrote on my paper to say, never follow the way how I did it. The way I did it was so crazy. I was friend with my friend who I sang in the same group. Those days I used to really sing. And a short story, she said, I've never gotten pregnant before since all my friends have gotten pregnant. I said, oh, I got medicine. I can make women pregnant. That joke, that
Oh man,
stupid joke, that joke is what got my
that's a
son today.
reality.
Yeah, just from that joke. So sometimes I can be like, okay, it was
You
stupid.
brought that small bag.
Whether she actually believed what I was saying, but that it used to work. Those pregnancy for girls was something that was not too scary. Like all her friends have experienced some kind of form of abortion before, and never had she had it before. So it was like, there's something wrong with me. Why everybody around me is doing this thing? Nothing. So young woman being crazy, young guy too, want to try the experiment. I'm like,
Ben,
yeah, I can make
Ben,
this
can
happen.
I ask you, you talking about the 70s, the 80s, or what time you talking about? Just, I want,
I was born in the 70s.
okay.
I'm born in
So
the
you
70s.
talking about the
But
ending,
my
the
son,
80s and 90s, okay.
yes, it was, yeah, no, it was, uh, yeah, 90s, yeah. But she was young. I was far older than her, so, but there was the experiment now, that's how my son is. So don't do what I did. But again, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in a way that you want him to be when he or she grows up, so he can be the way how you want him to be. A dog cannot born monkey. A cat can't born dog. If you live in my house, I'm raising you. If you're a dog, you will remain a dog. If you're a cat, you will remain a cat. Anytime you make mistake, you change even small to cat dog, you are outside of mine. You not even get dog. You try it, I save my money. That's my money. I'm not yet to negotiate with you. Nothing. Nothing. It ain't been no fun. Thank all of you for showing up today, and all of you have your views. These are my views.
That's
I
true.
own them.
I got a question for him. Can I ask
We
you
respect your views, Ben. We certainly
can
respect it.
I ask you a question before I go to before I give my closing? Is that possible to do that?
Go ahead if you want.
So hypothetically, if you had a son or a daughter, that son or daughter was hypothetically was a gay and he was a millionaire or she was a millionaire, what would happen? Will you reject it?
You will be rejected. You know why? The reason is simple because I am a self. I work for my own money. I don't need to be a millionaire to be satisfied. No, I'm looking for my happiness. I'm not looking for riches. I want to be happy. You can be a millionaire and be that kind of thing. It's not going to make me happy. So I will have the money, but I don't have my happiness.
No,
My happiness.
the reason I asked the question is because you said you accept the money in a surgery room. That's the reason why I asked it.
No, because that one I have that's a professional duty I have to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go to.
Okay, what kind of team you talking about? You can be that kind of team. What kind of team? What do you mean?
Man, you know what I'm talking about. They put it all right, Ramin, and you want to
So again,
in fact, let me show you one.
So again,
no.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do that.
Again,
I'm just kidding.
I want to say thanks to everybody. It was a great show. It was a great show. And like I said from the beginning, it's important for us to continue this process. Spotlighting, some of the issues that we talk about, especially like the last question of, what would we do for the young people? What advice would we give them? I know sometimes you bring some of the young people on and ask them some of the hard questions so they can be able to answer some of the young people out there. I think so it's important because in our society, the moral values of our family and all of the different issues that we talk about today is missing. All those things are missing in our society. And so if we must rewrite look at some of the issues that are confronting our society, it's important for us to begin to discuss those things and find a way how we can spotlight it. Maybe it can bring some awareness to the process, and can be able to have people really think about how they do parenting and how to do, how to go about engaging young people, engage in a relationship, whether they should build their finances before they begin to, involve themselves into born kids or, so there are a lot of different things we can do. So I just want to encourage Telv and the team, the sisters out here to continue the process, to spotlight some of the issues that have been talked about in our society on social media, so that at least can bring awareness to it. It's critically important. It's critically important. To my closing and to the question, what would you give a new assistant expecting that? Like Leo said and other people say, I think it's important for us, as for them as young people to first and foremost look at their surrounding, where they find themselves, whether it's in the States, whether it's in Europe, other places, whether it's in Liberia, and see, what are the possibilities and see what they can be able to leverage whatever they got going on and say, hey, am I ready to be a part of this process? Am I ready to bring child into this world? Because I can tell you, and one thing I would say, I want to give you ladies credit. You see some of the beautiful pictures we put out there. It's not an easy thing. You see, I'm taking my girl to the nail shop to do her hair, to do her nails, to do her feet. It's not an easy thing. And sometimes we sit as guys and say, the women to do these things, so it's kind of easy. No, it's not easy because I'm in laying my bed. I'm tired. When they lay up with me and say, "Hey, Dad, can we go to the market? I go get something quick." I saw something, and when she check on her iPad, she see those things. Dad, can we go get this thing real quick? She come with her little sorrowful face, and Daddy, can we get it? Then you gotta be, even if you're tired, you gotta get in the car. You gotta drive out there.
Get you wrap around her fingers.
Exactly. So. And I give kudos to you guys, you ladies, y'all do a great job. I know not all of you people, but hey, you guys do a great job. We take that for granted most time, but it's a serious task. I'm gonna tell you that. So I'll be extremely tired coming from work. I'll be extremely tired. But when she put a little baby face on and smile, and then then I get poppy and I gotta go join the car and say, let's go. So I just want to tell you guys thank you. But again, great show. I look forward to more interaction. I look forward to more of this kind of conversation. It's extremely important for us as parents to be able to, provide for our kids. And once you bring into this world, it's a responsibility to be able to take care of them and be the best parent that you can be. So thank you so much. And to say, I am single again. I'm searching, but I just want to thank all of you guys and bless all of you guys for a blessed evening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What are you,
Thank
ladies?
you for coming on.
Okay.
Sis Minerva, you want to go
Yeah,
ahead?
I can go ahead. Yeah. Well, just want to tell you guys, thanks for coming. Interesting answer, conversation. The ones we put in the parking lot, we're going to take it from that parking lot one day because I know we have a lot, especially the one concerning the gay, right? With your children, we're going to take it from there. But
Yeah.
Trevor, my sister, thank you for giving us this platform. Like the father said, that we hope we can continue something like that. I am ready. I'm available. It's not so much about politics. Sometimes it's good to come on the other side to talk. So, like I say, I am ready. And let's just all remember that every day is a Father Day, not one day. Every day we celebrate fathers, we celebrate mother because every time you're doing something for your children and you're doing it as a father or as a mother. I would tell myself I did both father and mother in that position and stay in that position with my two kids. So I just, want to thank you guys very much. I really enjoyed the conversation. And I hope I can get friends with some of you guys that I just met here on Facebook to read your posting at SB, like you, Abraham. I'm friendly with Leo, so I don't need to worry with that. I follow him all the time. Sometimes we don't agree with things, but he's still my brother. And so, yeah, just want to say thanks.
What's the full name again?
Let's say
Minerva
that record.
French.
Oh, the French, they can take French there.
Okay.
Tell them.
Okay. Yeah,
I will
so,
say you all of them names.
okay. I mean, some of us with the silent readers on Facebook. Not plenty I talk about, but I read and like and then pass by.
You don't want to be friendly with Peno.
Yeah. So, but
I
that's
want
it.
you
It
be
was
friendly with me on
engagement.
Facebook.
All right. So thank you guys very much. And let's remember every day that Father's Day. And please, the people that were reading and the people that were watching, that's Ben opinion, that his view, that diversity, let us just move on with that. He's the
Right.
captain of the ship. And who knows? That's the best way he bringing his children up. That's
Right.
good, or his son. So
Right.
There's no
that's what it
judgment
is.
there. If we
Yeah,
all
no
think alike,
judgment.
then we got one more. We got too many persons in the room, so we
Yeah,
appreciate diversity.
yeah,
Certainly,
that
we appreciate
diversity.
diversity.
Yeah, no
Okay, thank
judgment.
you.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Eugenia.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye. The next show will be on dating.
Did you not take us home?
Then I they bring out to our closing.
Hey, we want to do a
Did you
closing.
not take us? Ben, you're not coming back. Did you not take us home? Ben, you're not coming back. Go have an after show after the show.
No,
Yes.
I'm going out right now. I'm going out with my guests. So going out.
Wait, you should not take
Okay.
us home.
Have
You
fun
cannot take
then.
us home. All right. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, guys, I just was gonna say thank you to everybody for coming on. Thank you for watching. This was a great. Oh my gosh, I missed the first time we did this. I'm so happy I was available to be on today. Telvi, thank you so much for this platform. These are meaningful conversations that we definitely need to keep having in our community. Just like I think SB said, they don't get to share their vulnerability and things that's going on with them as men a lot. So this was a very necessary conversation. And I look forward to it. And all the men were so transparent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned a whole lot.
I learned a whole lot.
I learned
a whole lot. And I've been learning a little bit from the posts and everything over the years, but I learned a whole lot today. And I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, today
I'm
was
really proud of them.
very
Politics
informative,
aside,
very informative.
It's really personal to me, and I thank them so much for what they do every day in expressing.
Can I say, Chavi, can I say
Then Eugenia finish her thoughts or do her closing.
Sorry, finish.
No, let him go ahead.
No, let him go. Let him go.
Oh, all right, Leo, go ahead.
Yeah, let him go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry, Tavi.
Go, Leo.
Yeah,
no,
I was just going to say, I think there is something that we overlook a lot that I wanted to stress as parents, especially in our community. There is this issue with our children that now we're dragging our children into our shenanigans, especially as fathers, where the children will be in the community. There are opportunities and things for them, but because as we are having issues as adults in our community, we separate our children from the valuable experiences they should be having engaging each other. And I think it's led mostly by the fathers because the fathers have a lot of say in that. So I will hope as fathers, as we go through, despite what our differences are, let's not prevent our kids from having the collective experiences that they need to have only because I disagree with Minerva Grant. And maybe let's say she's involved with Eula and Eula is organizing
You have
something
to
for the
go there.
kids. I decide that I will prevent my children from going there because Minerva Grant and myself do not agree. And she's organizing something that benefit our children. So as fathers, I think doing it individually is great, but let's not neglect the collective part and the importance of that social engagement of our children and the development as well.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, him to
And
That
daddy.
is so true.
continue,
That is true, daddy. So
are
true,
you
daddy.
done, Eugenia, so we
Yeah,
can
go
end?
ahead. You know, man, you,
I'm done.
I
I'm
know
done.
where,
I'm done.
where you on the
You
desk?
have a blessed week. Thank you guys. Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, bye, daddy.
Babe, you crazy.